Yes, there are only two factors. We now know nutritional epigenetics, environmental epigenetics, which is what I'm talking about, determines whether the senses are going to receive the information or not, besides the nutrition, and how we should really balance xanthins, mesoxanthins, omegas, antioxidants, immune boosters, through herbs that we have naturally have. We have Prakatan or Ayurvedic, and you can prevent infections during the physiological immunity. So I'm so enthused about it. If we all connect together, I'll be a volunteer to give every day 1 hour trainer program.
Can I ask you some questions, please?
Yes.
So I understood that this is so obvious.
It's obvious that it has to be done. So I understand the various components like awareness generation program, that is an absolute must. And I also understand that affordability and accessibility of those nutrients to the villages, and also I understand. My question is, how would you do fulfillment? In the sense, the coaching, the training, this has happened, and the confidence has been generated. How would you make it fulfilled to the villages?
That's why we need to have, the government has a RDBS program or something where they go and pick up people who have disabilities. Invest the same movement with Anganwadis, primary healthcare workers, ASHA workers being trained, and create a space in every government school where these children are dropped by the parents there, and it is not the money, you're already investing on these Anganwadis. Utilize it appropriately, so we train those Anganwadis at a beginner's level. For instance, I have 3 books, but this comes the same thing. I have created a manual where I have given milestones checklist, milestones that can be translated into every language, give an activity for each developmental trajectory and subdomains. Like language has communication. For an infant, you don't need, the infant communicates very well, but it is the adult who is not receiving that communication. My expertise is teaching these Anganwadis how to look into the cues of that communication, which are verbal and non-verbal, and translate it into being able to express later on in life. And develop receptive language without blocking it, so expression becomes a natural process for an infant. They learn. And we also know from the scientific data that if you teach a native language from the beginning, the discriminating the native language starts by 5 months. So if you're a Hindi speaker, you speak Hindi, second language is English, and one person speaks one language. These babies who are learning more languages intentionally are much smarter than the others. So breastfeeding is natural. Even we know that diapers who breastfeed, the babies are fine. They get crushed out once they are not getting enough nutrition by 6 to 9 months of age. We need to start that by educating how to use their resources right there and to prevent lead or any other toxicity. Teach them how to do the herbs, the spinach and all these green vegetables from their ground, raised by family. And that can be done right from your neighborhood. You don't need much resources. If you grow small beans, the beans, not cocoa or anything, but cauliflower, carrots, there's so many things that are available. So that can be really initiated, the raised bed farming, teaching them. The sustainability is repetitiously giving lectures to these people, training them, getting the feedback where there is a deficiency, guiding them. So you have a basic level ASHA workers, Anganwadis. You have an intermediate level primary healthcare worker. You have educators like Dr. Iyer who can give a higher level of education to these people who needs repetitious training. Create a web-based videos and teaching and these materials available free of cost so they can really look at them, because computers are available in villages. If they have an iPhone, they can do it. Not iPhone, everybody has smartphone now. They can look at it. So we can use the technology by coming together, leaving the turf battle, how we can make it. I see a vision that it could be doable in villages as well as in the cities, because we're starting to do that. We're not paying attention to how we are relating to an infant with the adult caretaker competencies and teaching the adult caretaker intentionally to give a space for exploration, communication, and calmness which can be brought. In America, we are teaching yoga and meditation mindfulness to 18 months old going to the daycares. We have a Head Start program where free meal is provided for food insecurities. And there are 20 million children who go hungry when the schools close. And there are programs for those. We can redistribute resources.
So if the website is created and all of these videos are available, is there some way that this can be this knowledge can be transferred to influencers? Within every village there are few people who are influencers. हर एक गांव में कोई ना कोई है जिसकी बात अमूमन हर कोई सुनता है. Or if we can get this knowledge to this, because it is critical. Usually, mothers, first-time mothers in villages are very young, and they don't have any knowledge of breastfeeding or nutrition, or their self-care is also very important. So how to care for themselves as they're carrying the baby and after they have the baby. All of those things. Even young parents, how the baby's brain is very active. It's making 100,000 connections per second. Just imagine 100,000 connections every second in a baby's brain. So babies are much smarter than what we think. We have lost our ability to interpret. What is the baby trying to communicate? Because we are stuck with just verbal things. So बच्चे को कैसे समझना है, ये पेरेंट्स को सिखाना पड़ेगा. पेरेंट्स को सीखना पड़ेगा कि ये कैसे हम बच्चे के जो सिग्नल्स हैं उसको कैसे इंटरप्रेट करें, उसको कैसे एक्शन में लें. सो ये एक प्रॉब्लम है. और दूसरा है साथ ही न्यूट्रिशन कि कैसे ब्रेस्ट फीडिंग से finger foods or all दूसरे cereals कैसे introduce करना. But then it goes on to older childhood. अभी क्या होता है, बच्चे को टैबलेट पकड़ा दिया या टीवी के सामने रख दो. It shuts the brain down. जो 10,000 connections per second होने चाहिए थे, वो फिर 200-300 connections per second होते हैं, because सब कुछ स्क्रीन पे आ गया, साउंड भी है, लाइट भी है, सब कुछ है. बच्चे को इमेजिन करना का कोई मोटिवेशन ही नहीं है, कोई उसको चाह ही नहीं है कि मैं कुछ अपने दिमाग से काम लूँ. सो दैट इज नॉट द सोल्यूशन. सोल्यूशन इज इंटरएक्टिव. अभी यहाँ वाराणसी में आई सॉ yesterday there is an institute of sensory integration. All of these children who have attention deficit and autism and all that, they are coming to this institute just to integrate the senses. How is sound connected with light, connected with smell and taste and touch? These things don't happen if you put a child in front of a TV screen. But you talk to the child, you touch the child, all of those connections, that sensory integration happens. जितने भी उनकी ज्ञान इंद्रियां हैं, एक दूसरे के साथ बात करना शुरू करती है. टोटलिटी उसको समझ में आने लगती है.
So what happens I have seen locally and in India too, there is increasing autism. It's 2 to 3 per 100 now, 1 in 40. And there has been always said telepoison, and well, who will take care if everybody goes to work if the mother is not home? So putting it all together, scientific data, Catherine Kuhl, Patricia Kuhl from Washington U did studies. She taught Mandarin. She's her expertise in early language development, and she's taken kids to learning Mandarin with one-to-one interaction compared to little toddlers who is already exposed to that, and then puts the same teacher material on a TV, on an iPad. Infants who are exposed to the iPad learn zero. Infants who had one-to-one interaction. That's what I mean by caretaker competencies. It is always in a state of internal relaxation of the caretaker who is not going to be vexed when the infant cries. That is important. The love is important. The nurture is important. When there is a one-to-one interaction, that's when the brain learns. And the brain learning is completed 90% by 3 years. That's one of the reasons I'm very grateful to my brother to give me this opportunity. I pray to all of you that we are trying to give the sensory integration when the brain has already lost the capacity to create rich networks after 5 years of age. 100% of the brain primary connections have happened by 90% by 3 years, 100% by 5 years. And on that weak gaps, we are trying to do others. Brain is malleable, you can accomplish it. What you can accomplish in 7 days, under 3 years, it takes 6 months to 2 years, and that's one of the results. You don't have excellent results, you can reverse. If you catch early signs of autism, when infant is not looking at the caretaker between 1 month to 3 months to find out why it is happening, what is the social determinant there that is happening, how you can teach the mother where it is going wrong. What happens with the electronics is when the brain really connects these cells, 250,000 cells per minute, when there is acceptance of sensory information, forms a wire just like this wire is connected to the electricity, from outside to inside. That capacity is exclusive experience expected in the first 3 years of life. We know as doctors, when you have lazy eye, if you don't correct it before 12 months to 15 months, it leads to permanent blindness. Why? Because it lost its capacity to see in a very fuzzy eye. Same thing happens with the phonemic discrimination. If you don't introduce the language you want to learn from the beginning, multiple languages, one speaker with one tone and pitch of voice, one language, the baby cannot learn all the languages. It doesn't cause confusion, but there are certain creation principles and laws. In the same way, everything can be put into the baby's brain to not to touch bad food, not to shout at others, not to control, to be angry and make choices. That means a part of the sensory association and integration that happens before 3 years of age. So when we are trying only to look at the developmental milestones, which goes from eye movement, then the hands, then the reaching, then the creeping, then the crawling, then the standing. We are only looking at the motor development, height, weight, and biometrics. What is happening in a brain that had active emotional brain from the beginning? It is already very set. That connects the reptilian brain to the mammalian brain to the neocortex, which is a human property. Nobody has in the creation. That can be blocked with the sensory input is blocked. And what these do, electronics, is the kid doesn't eat physiological anorexia because they grow 2 inches per year, gain 5 pounds a year after the 12th month. Parents are frustrated, they have got things to do, whether you are an IIT graduate, working for Google, or whether you are in a villager. They stick them in front of the cartoons. And then the infant eats, they don't even know what they are eating. They are not even imbibing the nourishment from them. And that is causing shutting down and not making that wire from listening to the temporal lobe to this brain, where expressive language has to come from prefrontal cortex. That's why we wear this here. That's why we have this dot. Our saints knew that millions of years ago. But the science has to explain it. And the scientific world is now going to Vedic tradition of yoga, meditation, mindfulness being taught to a kid. If the infant is screaming, you need to find out why they're screaming. Cuddle them, hold them, and if they come them, they're bored, they want mommy, they're hungry, the diaper change it. But have the patience. But if a toddler is screaming, tell them to blow bubbles, sit in a corner, breathe, look at, blow the penguin, come back and tell me why you're crying. You want this or you want that. If baby is not eating, they're not hungry, don't force it. So there is a way of you integrate the behavioral management into brain nurture, nutrition networks. And if you don't feed these omegas, the brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which causes this arborization of the nerves, doesn't happen. Unless somebody sits down and does this mother, which is easily available through the greens and through a little black seeds powder here and there, it doesn't happen. So we are not making it happen because we are caught in getting things done. That's all. So that's my expertise. I can offer it to all of you who are involved with the service. And so we go one stage by one stage.
I just wanted to move on. We talked a lot about early development, and so move on about healthcare to the older children and nutrition. So can you talk about your challenges? What are the biggest challenges in getting nutrition to school-going children?
Thanks, Sunny. I just want to make this a bit more interactive, especially with the students over here. I could say almost 40 to 50 students are here. Most of you could be postgraduates. Let me just change the pace of discussions to make it more interactive with all of you. Are you with me? Yes. Yes? So I have 4 questions for all of you. And whoever answers the questions will get a special prize. Because that's a better way to get a response. Are you with me on that? I should be a genuine, honest answer. My first question to anybody over here. Once you get up in the morning, okay, let's say for some time, at your home, your mother is not there, and you are hungry. What do? Assume that in this house, there are only boys. Girls are not there, because girls know how to prepare. So we don't need to ask them, right? So let's assume a family, mother, father, 2 sons. Mother has gone to a temple. And both the children and the father are hungry. What do? Anybody can answer, please be honest over here.
Sir, what I do, sir, actually I wait for my mother to come and cook. If she can come in hour or hour.
What if you're very hungry?
Yes, sir. If very hungry, then some father say go ahead, get something from outside. Let's have it.
Very good, very good. Thanks for answering this question. Why I'm asking this question is, this is exactly the state of affairs of every school-going child. If I've seen, even for me or you, when we were going to college, our father used to put 10 rupees in our pocket. Today it could be 100 rupees in our pocket, correct? We should be grateful to our parents, correct? Because they know my child is going somewhere outside. What if he wants to eat something? What can I give to him? And we call it as pocket money. So this is exactly what happens for a child also who is going to a school. I don't know how many of you have seen a government school. I'm sure some of you have seen it. There is always one outlet which is there right outside the school. This typical sweet kind of outlets will be there. Kurkure, kind of food which is given to the child. So the child has the 40 coin in his pocket. Okay, the child has something to actually have a good food. But the problem is, he is tempted to have kurkure. He is tempted to have chips. He is tempted to have something which is not a good food. I wouldn't say it's not a good food, but at least for his health, it's not a good food. So that's my first question. So thanks for answering that. And my second question is, I'll tell you why I'm asking these questions at the last, to make it more easily mapped. See, all of us are, stationed over here, and most of us have a good nutritious breakfast, right? Let's assume all of you came to this session without a breakfast. Let's assume for whatever reason all of you came to this place without a breakfast. And then, for sure, by 10 o'clock or 10:30, 11 o'clock, you definitely would like to have something to have, right? What do you have? What is a typical thing which you have at a time where you skip your breakfast and at 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock you are really hungry, and then you're in the class, you can't come out, you can't have a proper thing. You have the class which contains tea, right? You might find something very simple to eat, simple to get some glass of tea. I mean, doctors are here. I don't know, is it a good thing to have tea as a morning nutrition? All of you know it, right? Because what happens is, if you are having tea, okay, I mean, doctor, we have a doctor here actually. I will ask him to speak also about what kind of nutritious drinks we need to have. So what we are doing is, we are having food which is not only causing something which deteriorates our health, but will also becoming a liability to the nation. You might be thinking, how can a tea become a liability to a nation? See, tomorrow if you continue having food like this, at the age of 30, 35, let's say if you are kind of not able to become a product of Indian nation, to give back to the society, whatever is it, could be business, could be social sector, could be anything. Instead, if you are finding yourself in a hospital, is it a liability or not? So is it not the responsibility of all of us to have proper food? People come and say, you're always a foodie. Let it be, no problem. You're having good food. Get up in the morning, have a nice food. Who's stopping you? Take another 4 chapatis. Because you are becoming more and more healthier. Otherwise, by end of the day, by 6 o'clock, all of us are down. We don't even have energy to even get back. Right?
Because you didn't have enough tea in the morning.
That's what. Absolutely, yes. Yes. So my third question is very interesting, especially for girls over here. Most of you, I have to tell you something very important at this point of time. A girl child at the age of 10 or 11 has to be very, 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 very careful about her health. Because it's not about her anymore. It's not about the mother or father or the brother or the sister anymore. It's about her and also the future girl or a boy who comes out of her. Could be 10 years down the lane. So here, my question to generally the ladies over here is, especially if you are during the menstruation period, most of the people, I know most of the people, including my mother and my wife also, we avoid taking food. I just want to ask our girls over here, what is it that many people do not have food at that particular time? Why is it stopping them? I mean, you can be open over here because this is an open forum. Anybody can answer this question. Or you can even challenge me if I am wrong in that part.
Some families, it's traditional that everybody in the house will eat, and
Why that?
superstition or
Yes.
tradition, it's a two-way sort of thing that
True.
the lady will be fed at the last.
Correct. I want to get the answers from the students over here because they'll be so that we can interact with them much better.
I was not aware that girls don't eat during their monthly periods. Is that true?
It's there much in the villages, sir.
Very much in the villages. Up to now, maybe
Because of the stomach ache again?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because of the stomachache. They say if I eat something, if I drink something, stomachaches come. But actually, that's the part of our transition of the body. You cannot change it. And my fourth question, which ma'am actually indirectly put this point, is like my dear brother was telling that let's assume mother is there at your home now. Okay? Your father is there, you are there, your brother is also there. Your mother has prepared a good aloo paratha for you, for your father, mother, son, and also any other friends, anybody. Who is the last person to eat at home? And that's the thing, that's the beauty of culture, that you know, the person who prepares the food is the person to be the last one to eat it. Right? And mothers, out of everything, we should have gratitude. I always want all of you to think about your mothers right now. Please close your eyes, think about your mothers. Because if they have not taken care of you, you wouldn't have been sitting over here. Now let me connect all the four questions straight back to what I want to tell. The first part is, when I asked that you know many children go to school with a 5 rupee coin to have something which is not nutritious. That's the first. The second part which I mentioned is about when you are in the college and you are not having the proper food. Okay, there is no difference. The boy who is there in the school or the student who is in the college, there is no difference. For him it is 5 rupees and for you it is 10 rupees, but you don't have time to eat. And the same boy doesn't have time to eat. Right? And third point, which is specifically related to the ladies. You know, where they have to have the good food, unfortunately they're not able to have it. And the fourth point is, we neglect our mothers. Can we ever go back and ask our mother, Amma, why are you first feeding me? First you eat it. You need to first eat before you feed us. Because you're like, and I wouldn't say it's basically like you are talking about a mother who is also behaving like a servant, like a maid, preparing everything for us, and then at the end she is having it. See, all these 4 points boil down to one point, is anybody who's in this forum listening should have nutritious food at the right time. If it is 8:30 or 9 o'clock or 9:30, at that time you should finish off your breakfast. I mean, if you are studying, finish off at 9 o'clock. You have something to eat it. Eat something relevant. Don't take kurkures, don't take some chips, etc. Because that's not going to help. So why I'm bringing all this point is, accessibility of food is there. Accessibility of food is there. The problem is, willingness to have it at the right time is not there. Am I correct or not? Is it correct or not? Am I making sense? I know 10:30, 11 o'clock you want to have a cup of chai. Doesn't make sense. These are the things which we are seeing in the rural villages. You go to see, right next to the farmer's place, wheat is there. Right next to rice is there. Right next to dal is there. Food is there. Food is absolutely there. But the problem is the farmers are actually selling it out to the outside world. And they are actually starving. So what can we do? If all of you really want to make a difference, my only honest observation and suggestion is, please, just think about one virtual child. If you can feed him good nutritious food, that's enough. We're in a forum over here, we think about one child. I know one child, a maid's son, I want to ensure that he gets good food. Take care of him. That is one way you can be nation building. And I made a questionnaire to ensure that we're all having a very interactive session. I look forward to see if you have any questions forward, and we can take it forward. But in the meantime, I also want Mr. Rajdeep Ji to actually speak about the nutritious food which you speak about and anything more related to the growing child. Thank you.
There's a question over there.
Sir, actually, I don't have a question, but I have certain points in my mind which I want to tell over here. Sir, like, I am a marketing student, sir. I am pursuing, sir, MBA in international business as marketing as my specializations. So while studying in our courses, sir, we used to study about behavior and culture. So these two are the important aspects that a marketer has to understand in order to be a good marketer. So sir, what I think sir, and what I, at personal level, I haven't gone to any Google or any kind of research paper or any kind of thing. But sir, what I observe is the culture disruptions. Like sir, I want to give example. Like when we, like in earlier days, my grandfather and my father used to say that they used to eat grams and peas in the morning, the sprouted thing. And sir, also it was like soaked, and they used to eat that in the morning. And so similarly what happened when this marketing digital kind of thing, TV advertisements and all thing came in, so we used to see that advertisements have a lot of impact on people and culture, and that has disrupted. I want to give example of cornflakes over here. So cornflakes was not a part of our culture over here in India, but cornflakes did what they regularly advertise, and they disrupt our culture, sir. And at that point they disrupt our culture, and so people are actually eating the cornflakes in the morning, and they're not inclined towards having grams and peas in the morning. Okay, so this is what the culture disruption is the main thing which I think is the main problem that we should change. Instead, like sir, and also sir, it's like about of how like sir, we see a example of Kurkure, like an advertisement came on the television, Kurkure, have a 5 rupees Kurkure. So if a child is having 5 rupees, so he will definitely go for a Kurkure, not for grams and peas, because he is not having any knowledge about it, what it can do, and also it is not going to taste better to him. So this kind of these all things are what I think the culture disruptions is the main thing that is causing hamper in this nutrients and other points which we are talking about. So so we should take care of this, like how this can be restored. And I think if this is restored, and the root cause, that is this culture disruption, I think that it has a root cause. And if we hammer on the root cause, then I think we are more able to make things right.
My solution is start exposing children or adults to TV. So we will go back to eating idli or idli that is made even with quinoa for diabetics, and dosas which are homemade. And my question to this doctor who asked the first question, what was the father doing when the kids are hungry? Why should women do that? Why couldn't he cook a little oatmeal or steam control or anything? And why should a child should go home or go to school with money in the pocket? If you have the same money, buy something at home that is healthy. A fruit, pomegranate, or a pear, or an apple. Spend that for that. Papaya is an excellent fruit. Why not, papaya is easily available in villages. We are talking about village nourishment also. Resources are there. We are deviated, and I really congratulate this young man who is doing MBA in marketing, who is thinking about we need to go back to our original culture. We need to stop imitating and become a zebra. We need to be our own. And I think I survived COVID giving recipes about how to use ginger and turmeric and adrak and peppercorns and everything to make a tea. What we call as kashayam. We used to make from our grandmothers who made kashayam. But kashayam really cures. It has immune component there. It stimulates the T cells and others as well as causes anti-inflammatory properties.
So one more point I want to add what I was saying. So second I want to point is convenience. The convenience is the thing that has also caused disruption so much. So because if I'm getting late to go somewhere and if my mother is unable to cook something, so ready-made foods are available. So she's like, okay, bring Maggie and let's cook it, and it is at home. So the convenience is also the point that people are not we can say that they feel more convenient to do these things rather than doing what was the right. So the convenience is also the reason.
Attitude change has to occur. The natural cooking process, it only takes 20 minutes to cook an Indian vegetarian meal. It doesn't take minutes. We can use pressure cooker.
In a rural area, nobody talk about the nutrition food because of they don't know much about protein or vitamins. So aware them about the nutritious food.
So we are having a discussion on food. So few aspects of food which I feel is quite important is the food definitely should be nutritious. So like a balanced diet it should be. But along with that the food should be very palatable, tasty. It should be culturally acceptable food and very practical, as you mentioned, that why did Maggi become such a hit? Because it was a 2 minutes noodles and time matters. So we have to take all this into consideration and then only we can do something about it. In this fast time world, we need to get something which is prepared very fast. That's why processed foods are a big hit, though they are not very healthy for us. So we have to make something which is balanced, something which is nutritious, which is easily acceptable, culturally acceptable, and as you mentioned that the cultures keep changing. Maggi was never there before, but then it became a revolution. It went to schools and there were Maggi clubs and everybody loved Maggi. So somehow if we can go back to our roots and reintroduce foods which were a good source of nutrition in the past, we have to slowly go back there.
Hello.
For Brother Anand, I am also a big tea fan. I love my tea. I think tea is culturally very acceptable. So people won't be happy if we say something against tea. Okay, we should increase our number of tea, but still we love our tea. Not only everyone loves chai. Thank you.
We talked about
When you try to carry out such implementation at the rural level, what is the success rate and what difficulties have you been encountering?
So as Annapurna, they are working in the villages. So the influences for the children in the villages are obviously their parents and the teachers. So we have to go and sort of make them first understand the importance of nutritious food. Okay, maybe in the villages, kurkure is not that much available, but they may be having pani puris or other things like that. So it's fine, children will love their pani puris. We can't tell them don't take your pani puri or your chaat. But they need to know that what is also important for them to have other than their fast food. So they do a lot of interaction with their parents, with their teachers. I'd like any one of them to share their experience.
any measurement, success rate.
Good.
So, in all due respect for the timing and so on, Baba gave me an opportunity to work in the Puttaparthi General Hospital, 1996 to 2005. And when I first started in 1996, I could find all this innocence and ignorance among the villagers from 21 villagers who used to come there, and the diarrhea and everything, and misinformation about breastfeeding and everything. But when we sit down and educate the individual parent, as into the third year, by 1998, I did not see many diarrheas or anything that come there. One teaches the other. That is the best in the village, rural area. They talk about the things. And even the farmers who came with the diabetes, when you talked about, you have the maize, instead of maize and rice, use like wheat and other products like, I don't know, sorghum and others. They got better. So villagers are more innocent, more vulnerable, more educable. And they really followed how to enhance the breastfeeding. They really knew how they could use their own resources that were around, that were just being observed. And that's my take in giving back to the villagers, that I was able to educate them, and they had less GI problems, and less nutrition problems, and less cooperation for breastfeeding.
I'd just like to share one experience working in a rural village. So how the mindsets change. So there was one guy who came from the village. He was having some lifestyle disease. He was having diabetes and other things. So he was advised to take ragi, which is available in South India. And the moment we told him that you can take ragi instead of the white rice you are taking, he became very upset. He said, "Do you think I am such a poor guy? I have acres of land." So that mindset change where ragi from a nutritious food, it became a poor man's diet. And then we have to make him understand that no, it's not about the rich and the poor, it's good for your health. So there are the mental blocks are there which we need to work on. Just an example.
And in continuation with the story he said, I have the other version of the ragi. When I told about ragi to some patient, he says, I can't afford ragi. Because in my state, Karnataka, the government has started a subsidiary program under PDS where they give rice for every person freely. So they get rice free of cost. And the farmer was eating ragi all through his life. Suddenly shifted over to rice because it was a matter of pride for him to shift over to rice. And now if I ask him to shift back to ragi, he finds it economically not viable option to shift back to ragi because rice is for free of cost. So this is another problem where at government level, when something is, some policy decisions are made for political gains, the huge stake of health is at stake. Then because there is a lot of management students here, I think some of you are from supply chain management, some of you are from international business. So the marketing also, tomorrow when you are in top positions in marketing, please think, socially, is this marketing going to be useful to the society? I think that one little thought can really make a difference because there were a couple of discussions that were happening about the 5 rupee coin, the pocket money thing. So a 5 rupee can give me a good 50-gram lace packet, which is looking very attractive, colorful, available in 4-5 flavors, options, and tasty. And it is made of, trans fat free kind of labels are put. And it's not the fat which is the problem, but the carbohydrate is the problem which we have been cheated like that. Not just the layman, the doctors are being cheated. Many of these doctors are saying fat free, okay, you can eat. And the carbohydrate is the problem. The fat that we eat is not the fat that is in the blood. Carbohydrates become triglycerides, they become the fat in the blood. But the fat that we eat comes out just like that. So these are some confusions that have been created even in the medical, fraternity. And then coming back to this point of 5 rupee coin. So this 5 rupee coin, I can't even get a banana because all bananas, we say it is grown in the villages. But what happens is the farmer doesn't buy from the farmer. I mean the businessman doesn't buy from the farmer. All bananas are going to an agent. What happens in reality in a village is an agent comes at the farmland and he buys the whole bananas from the farmer. He takes it to a wholesale shop and this shopkeeper in the same village next to this farmland, he buys the bananas from this wholesale shop, not from the farmer. Because he doesn't buy banana from him, then potato from him like that. This farmer has to go get all the shopping required for 1 week of his shop from a wholesale shop where everything is available. So you can't go to banana farmer today, potato farmer tomorrow, lace farmer or lace shop once again. For him, it is one point solution that he wants, like you go to a mall and shop everything. These businessmen, small petty businessmen are going and shopping in a wholesale market. So bananas are coming from there. So the 50 paise banana for a farmer becomes a 2 rupee banana for a wholesaler, becomes a 3 rupee banana for the guy who is selling in the APMC market, and then becomes a 4 rupee banana for the retailer, and becomes 6 rupee banana for the child who has to buy this banana. The 50 paise banana became 6 rupees in the same village. But the lace packet is not like that. It is 5 rupees, 1 rupee cheaper, and the child has the 5 rupee coin in the pocket. And the banana is not looking so great, while the lace packet looks very big. So these are some of the problems that this country is facing, and for any developed country, like 20, 30 years ago or 40, 50 years ago, the US has gone through this phase of non-communicable diseases. And today my country is going through this phase of non-communicable diseases, and this problem is persisting in poor more than the rich. Because unhealthy foods have become cheaper than healthy foods. Apart from all culture, tradition, most important thing for a poor man is the cost. So when we do marketing, when we do lot of this sales, international business, can we somehow bring down the cost? Can we make healthy foods more attractive, or also to be thought?
Can anybody remove the middleman to take all these and give via, and just go from the farm to either Heritage or Spencer or to Star Market directly, eliminate the middleman?
Yeah, so that certainly is something that our marketing and management students need to work on, is to how to shorten the supply chain, links in the supply chain, how villagers can buy from villagers, as it used to be in the old age. And even money was not the mode of currency. It was barter system. Literally, money didn't come into the equation. You gave half a kilogram of rice, and you got 12 bananas in return. That was the way things used to work. Except it may not be so good for the economy, but really it will be very good for the nutrition of individuals. I want to bring up a related topic. Actually, any reflections, any comments on that?
Yeah, the question.
The question was,
When you were executing this at the village level, what is the result which you see over a period of time?
Sure.
And what problems you encounter?
Okay, I'll answer this in two questions. The first is what we are actually currently doing, and then second is what is the kind of impact and actual real outcomes we are. Okay, using good. Straight like this, like this. Okay. First in terms of what. Hello. Okay. All right, that's fine. Let's keep going. So, in terms of what we are doing, we are providing free morning nutrition for needy school-going children, typically those attending rural government schools across India. And how we are doing, when we talk about morning nutrition, we have it about 3 or 4 different ways. Number one, he was talking about ragi and java. It's a very nice intervention because we provide the ragi sankati, that's what we call the ragi java, the finger millet wholesome thing. It has a very good nutritious profile, the right kind of calcium and phosphorus and so on, and with a little bit of jaggery. So it's the sweetness is there, and children really like it. If you got the taste right and you got the adoption right among the children, then you got the nutrition right. I think that's really all there is when it comes to school-going children and nutrition. So there is a completeness of profile that is ragi. That's number one. The second is we have our own nutritional supplement called SciSure, and SciSure is a multi-nutrient supplement presented with milk. In many governments, they provide milk, and then we fortify with a very tasty and nutritious SciSure. It's a multi-nutrient, which means vitamins and minerals, rich kind of a nutrient supplement. And the third mode is we have a plain cooked breakfast. This is usually working where the kitchen infrastructure is a little more sophisticated in the government schools that we operate. So that's where we kind of provide the dry rations, and we encourage the cooks to do the cooking, and then we provide this thing.
And the fourth module is where the infrastructure is not very sophisticated. We provide the basic, like bananas or some food, nutritious cookies or something like that. At least something that will keep the hunger at bay till the midday meal is taken and so on. So these are the 3 or 4 ways in which we, this is what we call the morning nutritional intervention. And it has been working very well. So coming very straight to your point, there have been, this was a very small intervention, but it has multiple ripple effects that we have seen on the ground. I would say probably about 7 or 8, we can start counting. Number one, we have found that the dropout rates have started getting arrested. The minute that we see that there is something that's really coming in the children, people have started less and less leaving the school. That's the first thing that we have seen. The second is kind of a contrast thing. The enrollments have started increasing dramatically. The minute we say that the friendly neighborhood school, hey, these people have started a morning nutrition intervention, the word goes around and enrollments start improving. I mean, it's a very rather, it's kind of a beautiful thing because we saw it after the COVID, when we wanted children to start returning to school. The principals and the HMs and the staff told us, the minute you start doing it, the word goes around and enrollments start increasing dramatically. So that's our second point. The third point is very interestingly the punctuality of the children have started improving. Why? Because a lot of times people come to the school because of the midday meal, frankly speaking. And what is the purpose of going to school when you're really all your coming here is only because you're coming for a midday meal? That's the unfortunate part. But now, by the time the teachers are coming to the school, the children are here, teacher, we are here, and of course you know why. And so that kind of a punctuality is really coming. And this leads to the next point, which is really the rise in the level of motivation among the teachers, because they were very helpless. Because children were coming with an empty stomach, and they knew that they couldn't do anything. The children would come for the first period, they'll hold on. The second period, they start deteriorating very fast. It didn't really make sense, they knew what was going on. But now that this has started, everybody is happy because the child is fed, the staff are also fed. They also have the HMs. Everybody is, they're nicely having this nice nutrition, and then they're starting their work. So that it's an overall good vibes that have been built in the schools. That is something that we have been hearing from the staff and the parents and everybody involved. And then of course the natural product is really what Sunny was talking about, is the mental focus. Mental focus is definitely there when you are starting to, and teachers have seen it, that they are able to see things better and so on. And the next product is really the academic performance has started growing, and this is a lot of good feedback that we've been getting. And then comes what is most obvious, which is the health parameter. So it's a rather non-intuitive that there are so many other force multipliers, right? But health profiles is definitely the most important. The minute you start doing it, within about 3 months, the parameters, weight, height, and mid-arm circumference, and in certain cases, HP, wherever we measure, those also start growing up. By the time you get to about 3 to 6 months, the parameters become normal and steady. Contingent upon continued intervention, the parameters stay normal and so on. That's how we observe. And finally, the last 1 or 2 points I would say is really something that has not been measured, is really something that the teachers are seeing is IQ. The IQ, the intelligence of the child, and that kind of correlates to what Sanjeev was. So overall, I would say what this small morning nutrition intervention is giving rise to is a beautiful lot of beautiful multiplier effect, and we are actually delivering a healthy and productive citizen to the nation, and that's directly hitting to our nation's GDP, economy, health, good wife, everything that you would really think about. So I think there are multiple outcomes that we are continuously trying to measure. But we are getting a lot of unsolicited positive feedback from all of these stakeholders in ongoing questions. Hope that answers your question. Thank you.
That's good. And funding?
I'll explain you the challenges because till now we are talking about, this is basically important for all the management graduates. This could be a good case study. Sir is spot on. What he asks is what are the challenges, so let me explain the challenges. So I have about 7 challenges. It's like 7 steps to Lord Balaji Temple. Okay, I'll start with the first challenge. The first challenge and the thing which we were discussing is, like what you was also speaking is, willingness to have something nutritious. Okay, the child goes, he still picks up the kurkure packet. Okay, and I tell him, no, you should rather have something good that doesn't go into the child's mind, not to the parent's mind. Parent-teacher meeting happens. There also teachers tell you that 5 rupees to me. I'll collect it and I'll make a good breakfast. It's just food itself. Let the child have breakfast. Parents don't understand. Child also says, no, I would prefer having a chocolate or a biscuit. So that's my first challenge. Okay, so the mindset is something, it's a cycle, it will take time. The second challenge is just not about parents. It's just not about teachers. It's just not about even children. The challenge is cooks. Somebody has to cook the food. Now, if my cook is not hygiene and she is using a utensil which is not clean, and what happens? Sai Prasad and we have to run and clean that place because the child will vomit. The first thing they will complain is food. Annapurna Trust came, they gave some grains and some low quality grains they gave. Have you ever done the analysis why the food was stale? Didn't prepare properly. So you cannot have answers for such questions. And we had at least 4 such instances. We ran and we stood over there. And children and parents were coming and saying, sir, what did you do to my children? What kind of food you gave? He's vomiting. So let's accept the fact. You are saying you're doing good work, then you should also accept the fact that you should come forward for this. And we ran. Second challenge. The third challenge is, you spoke about the child, you spoke about the parent, you spoke about the cook. The third challenge is the teacher. If the teacher is not willing, can you do this program? You can't do it, right? Because that is her ilaka, his ilaka. You are coming to my class. How can you do something for my children? I should be the signing authority. Why I am saying this problem is, if that one teacher has a sympathetic mind, sympathy, and my children, somebody is coming, give me food. If that one sign-off happens, that sign-off happens, right, things will, doesn't happen. Many times he goes, no, why we should do it? Why we are not poor. Who is told you to come and do breakfast? There is that mindset of the teachers. So I covered all the parts of it. Now the very important part for us, if you look at it, is today we are doing for one school. The problem is there's the next school which is right next there. And they come and say, hey, why don't you do it over there? Okay, we did the second school. Then they come and say there's a third school, fourth school, okay fine, no problem. 10th school, okay fine. 30th school they come and say, where are the funds? Where are the funds for us? We are also, we actually resigned our jobs. I was earlier with HP. He's a director in HP. We resigned our jobs. Whatever money we had, we have put in banks. With the interest which we get out of the banks, we are putting as a donation and running the programs. And then you are here to come and say, okay, there's one more school, do it out there. There's one more school. Okay, what are you doing? What you as a teacher are you doing? A teacher's salary in a government school is 80,000 rupees, which is an average salary of a 10-year-old software expert in an IT company. 10 years experience, software IT expert salary is 8,000 and HM's salary is 80,000. If I knew this, I would have tried for being a HM in one of the schools when I was starting my career. So you tell me, if the 80,000 rupees person cannot take 1,000 rupees out of his pocket for serving his own children, why should I move out from Bangalore, go all the way to some village and talk about nutrition and give all these things. Now this is my emotional challenge. It's not a physical challenge, or it's not a challenge about the people over emotional challenge. I am spending $1,000. You're not even willing to spend even 100 rupees. Because I get calls where they say, sir, gas is completed. Or cooks are complaining that we are not getting salaries. Okay, they're not getting it. Can't you just take it from your pocket? Am I doing it for my children? It's for your children. So the willingness of, inclusiveness to keep everybody, together and, let's work together is still not there in India. It's not there. In many places we see it. Now I know that the teacher gets that much salary, but he's not willing to take a part of it. But again, we have to do, that's the way, because we have to make a change. Somewhere somebody has to make a difference, so we are making the difference. If we thought, okay, we can't do it, we wouldn't have achieved 1 million children. And today we are not talking about 1 million children. Somebody else asked me in the morning, how many more children will we do? Continue doing it. Tomorrow it will be 2 million, it could be 10 million, it doesn't matter. As long as a child is getting a morning breakfast, we continue to do it. So this is my fifth problem. And the sixth problem, which is the most important for all of us, especially for the people sitting over here, is we are always in our own comfort zone. As long as you as a student decide to go out and once visit a village and a school and try to give a chocolate or a biscuit or anything on a birthday, you will not understand the gratitude you need to have for your parents. Because you have been taken care by your parents. But look at the children over there, they don't even have a proper bathroom. If I have to go for a nature call, I need to go back to my hotel and do it. So imagine these are the situations, and people like us, we are not joining hands. This is my challenge. We have to join hands. We don't have people. We just have got not more than 70 people. We want more and more people to join hands. And this is the reason why we are here. We don't take it as a one session where we are here to take a case study. No, this should be a lifelong thing. Tomorrow you should adopt one school, whichever school it could be. You want to make a contribution of 20,000 or 50,000 rupees for that morning breakfast for that school, you have to do it. That's my responsibility back as a citizen of India. So these are the challenges. And I felt, because the question was very relevant, and since we were in this game for almost 10 years, so that's the reason why I took the opportunity to answer you back. Thank you very much. Sorry? Yeah, so very valid question. Again, we get the funds from corporate companies. We also talk to governments. They help us in some of the ad hoc expenses and many of the individual contributors, and of course thanks to Sunny Ji, we get a lot of support from US also. They have actually taken our case study in Stanford for the last 7 years. And this is our 7th annual Village Conference, and we've been very thankful to Sir for giving us an opportunity. In that way, we've been slightly been able to be vocal about what we are trying to explain.
Please connect with me for fund as well from our company.
Thank you.
I just wanted to add one more point. When we started installing sanitary napkins vending machine, Spencer, villages, we had exactly the same problem with the funding. We didn't have. Yes, initially we ourselves adopted some 25 villages, but ahead with that. But although I always carry a big bag, a deep bag, and big sham day, the same concept goes on and on everywhere. Okay? But they are very good people to here. It's a matter of connecting with those people in the right institution. And I think that the moment they understand that your soul is pure in terms of executing your project towards a society, I think they come forward with some help. So just keep doing. I did it, and I think 220 villages, 15 villages are live now. And I've got now funds from financial institutions to make it to 500. So I'll continue doing that. So please keep up the good work.
Just want to mention in terms of funding, all of us have a responsibility to come together and hold hands together. if we are going to, we are only as strong as the weakest amongst us. As a community, as a country, we are only as strong as the weakest person among, because it's all a chain of mutuality. It's all one network, one web in which we are all connected together. And I just remember, something that's an experience that shook me when I was a young doctor training in my residency in Boston. And we got this child in cardiac arrest, full cardiac arrest. I was in the emergency room. We did a prolonged resuscitation, and we could not save the child. And the story is that, this was a farmer's child. This was 2.5-year-old, very active child. It was from a farm in North Andover, just north of Boston. It was the cold weather, and the child was playing in the kitchen and disappeared. So the mother started looking, then she called her husband, they called the neighbors, they started looking. There was snow everywhere. Finally, the whole village came, and then the fire department, police department, around. So they tried. By now, there were so many people, covering so much of the snow. It was hard to even see, and things started getting dark. And so that's when they decided we make a circle around the house. We all hold hands, and we will take one step. And step by step, we will go further and further away from the house. And finally, by doing that, they were able to find the child. And immediately, they had already called the ambulance. The ambulance brought the child to the helicopter and came to us in Boston. But we could not save that child. And the mother said to me, I wish we had decided to hold hands earlier. Once we all hold hands earlier, once we hold hands together now, then we will make the difference. Because this is society, this is all of society in this room. And if we come together to hold hands, then there will be no child that is neglected in terms of their nutrition and their education and their health care. So I think this is it's an experience that has stayed with me over the last 40 years I've been practicing as a pediatrician, but there are some experiences that you never forget. And so I think as a society we need to come together and hold hands. And that is, I would say, the question then becomes how to get over this disconnect. This is what I'm trying to pose as a question, is there are people, there are good programs, and good work is being done with full honesty and sincerity. But how do we connect to corporate India? How do we connect to the philanthropists? How do we connect to the common people? And one of the ways that we are trying to propagate in this conference is the 1 Rupee app. How many of you have heard about the 1 Rupee app? Okay, so let me tell you a little bit, and you'll hear there's a workshop on Sunday. Come to that workshop. So in the old days, every time mother was cooking a meal, they put one handful of rice away. Anybody who came to the door asking for bhiksha, that was the rice that had been collecting in this separate bowl, that was given as bhiksha. That is, so in an electronic sense, this is the concept for the 1 Rupee app, is you download this app, have it on your phone, and you, by downloading it, you agree to give 1 rupee a day. It's not going to make you poor. You can give it 1 rupee every day, or 30 rupees at the end of the month, or 360 rupees one time in the whole year. You can do that. But if we can propagate this, suppose a crore of people have this app and they are all giving 1 rupee a day. There will be no, there will be no limitations to how much good can be done for menstrual hygiene, for nutrition, for delivering the last mile of healthcare, for teaching children, getting them into school. All of those things can come out of this. So this is one thing I just wanted to share, which is a important feature of this conference. We want to, make people aware of this Varmuti Act.
I would like to, I am reminded of one saying which used to be heard in earlier times, कि गांव में कोई आता था जब नया, सो पूरे गांव को बोला जाता था 1 रुपया और 1 ईंट दे दिया। तो बिजनेस करने के लिए उनके पास पूंजी आ गई और घर बनाने के लिए ईंटें आ गई। That's how it used to be.
On a lighter note, he was talking about the Annapurna thing. So UP being the land of Lord Sri Krishna, no. We know as a young boy he was such a prankster, and his mother Yashoda used to get a lot of complaints. So the way she attracted him is, she wants to give him a lesson. She will show the butter and hide the stick behind and catch him. This model is like that. Just attract the child to school and you are building the nation through good nutrition and education.
So like everyone was discussing about the fundings and the problems and the problems in the funding, and that everyone needs to come together. And also, sir, in the middle of the session, sir, everyone was talking about the efficiencies of the that is the whatever the communication we are communicating with the people, the efficiency in that. So I want to add some points, sir. Like sir, in our marketing, sir, like as a student, sir, like storytelling is a feature which adds, which is like, sir, if a person is communicated any information through a storytelling, he or she is able to apt more the information in his or her memory. So sir, storytelling concept should be used in narrating, in telling the information about the nutrient to students, or whether it is parents, students or teachers. It is something that which has lasting impression on our mind. Like from our childhood, we remember many stories that are told, that was told us to us by our grandmas or grandfather or our mother parents. So storytelling is a feature that we can include it in educating the children and the parents. And so secondly, sir, when we are talking about the nutrients, so alternative way of cooking. That is, sir, what I want to give my home example. Like my mother is very well aware that I don't like grams and I don't like jaw bajra. Okay, so we are apt to eat wheat rotis at our home. So what my mother do? She took the gram, jaw, bajra, everything. She put them in the wheat and gave it to me to go and get it grind at the wheat shop. So I answer it is like, and I eat that chapati daily. And sir, it is like whenever I eat them, sir, I'm unable to differentiate that it is a chapati or it is a multi-grain roti. So sir, certain these kinds of points need to be discovered, and we have to make a list of those points, and this needs to communicate to every household, not to children, sir. And sir, like when we if a company is manufacturing any toffee or any, we can say, fast food item, so they communicate basically to the parents, not to children, because children are not able to understand. They don't have the basic understanding to understand what actually the thing is being told to them. So the parent needs to be targeted more than the children's. So parent needs to so whatever the alternative way of cooking are there, parent needs to be told, they have to be communicated in a very well manner and a storytelling way, so that they are able to understand that. In the rural area, we have seen that people generally remember things in the form of story. They say, "Arey wo yaad hai, ye hua tha." So a kind of story needs to be narrated to them, and in rural settlements, these are the most common thing which we need to seek for. So sir, I think, sir, funding problem is that funding is not perpetual an option for this. Instead, educating people, that is parents who are there, and because if the parents are who are there to educate the children, if our parents are able to understand, if they are able to get in the things what we are communicating, the children will automatically get that. That's all, sir.
You said it right, because it is the individual factors, the biological limit of the society need to know what needs to be done. Being the deficiencies, and I have a question for all of you, because I'm not connected with the politics. When the government knows that this has such a beneficial effect and they are able to pay $110,000 rupees to 80,000 rupees per instructor, why cannot they take it up as a national policy to give a meal program? And why can't these elite workers who are doing wonderful things talk to the government of India? Modi ji is very nice. Department of Education, think about this as a national policy, along with putting Anganwadis to take care of the children when both parents go to work, that they should form a center for early child development and take care of the nourishment to everything. And that would be the solution, as I perceive, in the whole world. Because that we are transforming the culture, and contributing to something is a voluntary act, and nobody is willing to volunteer beside their own self. So change the self. Change the self within the biological unit, and then it will be a domino effect. But government has to contribute by making this a policy. Same thing with a lot of things that needs to be a national policy.
See, the thing is, I can tell you, the government's feedback, or at least what they tell, because every time government comes back and says that we have allocated about 250 crores for this particular program, but when we actually go to the government, they come back and say we don't have that money. And you will say, why is that happening? And what really happens is that they take all of this money from this program and allocate it to this new program notionally, and most of that money is really taken in the salaries of these rank and file of the education. For example, when you look at the Ministry of Education, when we go to each of the states for funding, what they say is, they encourage you do a good job, keep doing it, but don't ask government for money. And we always wonder why that is happening. And what we realize is, when we go, the schools give the cooperation and they see us as a result of sacrifice. When governments go and try to do the same thing, they look at it as an entitlement. And they're always talking about, when is my next increment? The government has not done they're supposed to do my increments. It's due for 1 year, 2 years, they're not done. So they get into a loop of these kinds of back and forth kind of negotiations. So they never, I'm trying to simplify this, but what we have seen it in so many states is that ultimately you don't get those money. The only way that you can do is, the NGOs, institutions go, and then they say, this is what we're doing. They'll give you permissions, but don't ask money. And then we'll give you the permissions. So that's how we officialize any kind of interventions. And then the corporates, individuals come in and say, okay, there's a government program happening with, say, an Annapurna or a government, and to that we will support. So it becomes a tripartite. It becomes a 3 years. Samsthan, Sarkara and Samaja. Samsthans like Annapurna provides the passion and the perseverance. The Sarkara provides the policies and permissions. And the Samaja at large, they provide the potential and privilege. So the 3 years provides a 3P. So that's the only way the whole thing, this virtuous cycle keeps working.
Can I just mention that it has become part of the national education policy. Morning, it was Modi himself announced that it will be part of national education policy, but it's policy, it's not being implemented, and there's no, it's a unfunded mandate.
Breakfast is part of, it was in October 2021, it was formally introduced in the NEP 2.0, National Education Policy 2.0, that any kind of a morning intervention, especially both lunch as well as morning, is very important for the children, and we would like to do it as a policy going forward. So it is really part of the only thing is that while that is a policy, as you rightly said, the implementation on the ground, it takes a little time.
I wanted to have Professor Moudgalya, please share your thoughts.
I just wanted to share, it's a good point, wanted to share our experience in working with some of the government agencies. I'm going to first share my Nandurbar experience. Actually, as rightly pointed out, a lot of money goes for salaries. We have a large number of people on the ground. Some of them actually pointed out when the district magistrate sent a letter of appreciation. They said that's the first time ever in their life they received a letter of appreciation. I'm talking about the letters, right? And once the administration accepts and they are able to enforce it through the workers already, whether it is Asha, Anganwadi workers, whoever, that is the best way to get things done. Best thing is to make them feel that it is their project, not yours. So if you can come up with a method by which we say that it is a method that I developed, but I'm not required to roll it out, we should become unimportant. So if we can do that, then people don't mind taking it, it becomes that. The one problem is that we are still grappling with how to scale this. We came up with some numbers for Nashik, for example, because Nashik district also wanted us. But then our numbers don't agree with the money that the CEO, district CEO has, because it turns out that they have a lot more money for infrastructure development. They have much less money for this kind of education, things like this kind of interventions. The other thing that they also expect is when you scale it, can you do it at a much lower price so that you can still achieve this? For example, our numbers said that 1,500 rupees to train one health worker through contract. So we said that maybe 1,200 people will come to some amount, 18,000, 18 lakh, or something like that. But that will not work if I go to 10,000 people or 1 lakh people. Then how are we going to, the government will not have money. Even if the government has money, the person who is going to roll it out will not have approval. So are we ready to come up with new methods so that if it is for a smaller number, it is 1,500, if it is a larger number, I'm proposing my colleagues who are actually doctors who are leading this program for the health spoken project, that we should use technology for training so that the cost can be brought down. So I'm saying that now it will be brought down to something like 200 rupees per month when it goes to 100,000. When it is 1,500 when it is 1,200 rupees. So that way I think there is a responsibility on the people who are trying to do something also. Because otherwise it is not going to work. Because on the one hand, because all said and done, the researchers and so on are idealists. That this is the way it has to be done. You have to do it, very well, things like that. And it is going to cost me money because I have to have trainers, I have to pay them, and things like that. But the point is that if you can do it at 1/10 the cost, 10 times the number of people, maybe 100 times the number of people, even if there is some inefficiency in that large scale thing, it might still work. So I think there has to be an appreciation from what the other side also, the government also. That's what I'm saying.
So the investment seems to be on paying the trainers, but if you have a website with all the training being self-instructional, where we use, whether it is nutrition, immunizations, the right things to do. Why is it so expensive? Where is the money factored in it? If this education is free.
Yeah. So let me just explain to you. For example, I have been, in my track, I'm going to talk about software engineers. Right? That's what the 10 minutes of audio video tutorials. These are created for self-learning, dubbed into 122 languages, usable. And I say that if you make a normal tutorial, normal video, right? I just give a talk in front of a camera and then somebody records and then gives it. Very easy to do. 10 people will watch it. But if I make it 10 times better, 10,000 people will watch it. Okay? So you have to make it 10 times better. So the cost of making is 10 times more. You understand? But 10,000 people will watch it. So there is a scale factor of 1,000. You increase it by 10 here, you will increase it by 1,000. In fact, our C++ spoken tutorials were used by more than 1 million people. When I write a normal research paper, if 10 people read it, I'll be very happy. That's why I told this 24-year-old Ashwini Patil, MSc, Computer Science, Mumbai University, who created these tutorials. She used to complain when I said, make the tutorials 10 times better. She'd say, why? Why should I do this? Why should I do this? Why should I do this? But when 1 million people used it, I said, this is why you. So, there is an investment. You have to spend the money. You have to find out whether it is effective. So you have to develop, you have to do research. You may need to have some PhD students who have to check, for example, one of the most effective educational technology tools available today is what is known as a clicker. What is a clicker? Clicker is the one what Amishabh Bachchan uses in Kaun Banega Crorepati. Because every time you introduce a topic, immediately you find out whether people have understood or not. If they haven't understood, spend a little more time. You don't want to wait for 3 months at the time of exam, you find that they haven't understood anything. They haven't understood the foundation, and you build the whole castle on top of it. You have to redo the whole thing. So that is education technology research. That means you have to invest time and effort in that research. So what you say is true, but if 10,000 people watch my video, which I create for 10,000 rupees, then the cost is 1 rupee. Then it becomes affordable, almost free. Right? So what you say is true, it will happen when we reach the scale. But there has to be initial investment. To make it good, to understand whether, because how do you know, for example, how do you know that somebody understands? It is not a quantitative thing. Right? How do you know whether that person has understood? It is not like, 1 plus 2. There it is not, it is a qualitative kind of thing. You need to develop the tools and so on and so forth to analyze them. So this education technology, for example, is an area where you have computer scientists, people who are in education, also sociologists and psychologists and so on working together, trying to understand. Yes, that is the answer.
I'll give you my website, you analyze it and tell me what you do.
Sure.
Thank you, Anandji. I just want to share my experience, what we have done in the rural USA. We had the same kind of issue 40 years back, and what we took it upon, as Dr. Anand has been saying, decentralized. So we have a cheap program by which all the students in America who goes to school, they get 2 meals for sure. We tried to do because we understood the value of fruits and vegetables. So we physicians in each town, at least in my area, what we started contributing $1 a day. We connected with the local farmers, we purchased from them freshly grown fruits and vegetables, and we made it sure that every student in Bucks County gets those supply every day. And whether they're rich or poor, every school gets it. Second thing, we incorporated, because we had a lot of issues with drugs and addiction. So we started having the mental health as a Dr. Kannan told you about is a digital, and we are a little advanced, so we started providing all those lessons at early age, and important was micronutrients for students. So it was important we started figuring it out who are the children who have issues. We call social determinant of health. So poverty is one of the major factors. Specialists not taking Medicaid is a very major issue. So we started reforming the Bucks County Health by addressing by joint, as we say, connectivity or integrative healthcare. And believe it or not, we introduced mindfulness and yoga for our students 40 years back. So I think India has a lot of knowledge about mindfulness and agriculture, organic खेती. So I think incorporating those and teaching to students when they're 5, I think the stress reduction is very important. It goes down. Also having them teaching the calorie count. Obesity is a big problem for USA. So we started comparing with our neighboring state, and our data is far better than 3 miles away the town is in New Jersey. So I think it's a little changes which we do, and as you said correctly, a lot of time we try to depend on government, although we have CHIP program, we did better because each one of us said this is our county people, we should help them out. So I think same thing what the person was saying about language is important. So we have a lot of Hispanic population. So as Kananji said, we're translating in multiple languages in USA now for children's health. So I think that kind of thing, if children understand what is good for them for nutrition with the simplicity, keep it simple and stupid so that people can understand what Dr. Kannan said. I like it, a click method. You have to have a feedback, interactive, where the students are understanding it or not. Do they understand which food makes them obese, which food makes them immunosuppressive, and which make them immunity improve. So I think those are simple things. Storytelling, I like the idea. That's what I want to just say. I have seen the video made by Dr. Kannan. Amazing video for diabetes awareness, which is a big issue all over the world. So I think he's going to make the video for us for mental health improvement and all the diseases, symptoms wise. So I think that will reach every town, every rural. And as Dr. Anand is saying, rural development is very important for all of us. So we all want to contribute what we have learned from different parts of the world. Ultimately, you can take all the world together, and you can take Indian out of India, but you cannot take India out of Indian. So we are trying to make whatever we have learned, we are trying to bring it back, and not no cost, but low cost.
The same movement to prevent
Yes.
everything is
Prevention is better than cure. Thank you.
I'm Dr. Chinu. The question about government, yesterday when I landed at Varanasi airport and I saw some littering over there, some garbage, I immediately exclaimed that ये मोदी जी का वाराणसी है, कहाँ है स्वच्छता, स्वच्छ भारत कहाँ है? So the driver who had come to pick me up was very annoyed with this comment, and he said, "Madam, ये public को देखना पड़ेगा ना, मोदी जी थोड़ी ना आएंगे झाड़ू लगाने." So the government does something, but the problem with us is in all areas of working is discipline. Where we can make a policy, we are very good at policy making. Indians are very good at strategic planning. हम लोगों का खेल जो है शतरंज है, हॉकी है, हम लोग स्पिन बॉलिंग में माहिर है, हम सॉफ्टवेयर की दुनिया के राजा है because we are strategic. But what happens when it comes to implementation is there are no monitoring systems in place. There is no accountability in place. So I am also pained by this fact of a teacher getting a 80,000 salary and coming and giving the attendance in government school, signing her attendance and sitting there and knitting sweaters. Not doing any contribution for the children, what she is supposed to do. I have seen in rural schools, घर से पूरी मटर लेकर आ रहे हैं, वहाँ पर छीली जा रही है, और जो बच्चे पढ़ने आते हैं उनको भी छीलने में लगा देते हैं और बोलते थे खाना नहीं है इसमें। यहाँ तो आप लोग खाना देने जा रहे हैं, वहाँ उनको इंस्ट्रक्शन है इसमें से खाना नहीं है, बस छील के हमको दे दो करके। So we need monitoring system systems in place. And I was very reflective when I came from the airport. Kahan, hamari zimmedari kahan? And as he said, my dear student over here, that unless we educate people, unless the educational awareness comes up in the lay people, in the public in India, I'm not saying educated or uneducated. Educated are more indisciplined than educated, uneducated. They want to find the shortcuts. Jaldi kaam ho jaye, kaise bhi ho jaye. That's where I think the problem lies.
Let me add to that about this monitoring system. This magistrate, this district magistrate in Nandur, district collector in Nandurbar pointed out about the health worker, what they are supposed to do. The register just has questions. Have you visited? It doesn't say what you are supposed to do. Okay? They say yes, 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 yes. And there is no check. So now we are saying, has the baby gained 40 grams a day? Okay? What is it? What is the weight gain of the baby at 30? And if it is below certain number, there are questions. So that we are trying to implement through some software. In other words, I absolutely agree with our monitoring system has to improve, and we have to enforce through software. That's the only way.
So that there's actually a very beautiful book, and I'll refer this to all of the management students here. It's called Measure What Matters. This is a book that Bill Gates recommended in one of the book clubs. The measurement of what matters, what we are dealing with in the Ideal Village for the different tracks is change. We have to measure the change that is happening in the lives of villagers, rather than so many. It's okay that breakfast was delivered to 1 million children this morning, but what matters is the change in their enrollment, attendance, punctuality, weight gain, height gain, cognitive scores, academic success, and future potential. So we have to start coming up with metrics that will actually measure, like weight gain over here. That's what matters, is how much weight that, and I was reminded from your story of Varanasi and there's been so much litter around. My student who's taken care of me for the last 3 days, he mentioned about one particular city where I grew up, which used to be a very filthy city, but Indore. So Shivansh, you want to tell us how they achieved becoming the cleanest city?
Thank you, sir, for giving me the opportunity. I want to share how Indore became the cleanest city of India in last 6 to 7 years. This is the 6th time it is the won award for the cleanest city of India. So earlier, people didn't know how the city can look. Before they saw that oh wow, this is the city, we can see if we make the efforts. And slowly everything like marketing of cleanliness was done. Making campaigns, giving slogans to the people who were not aware about how hygiene can help to give good health to the society and reduce the diseases, etc. So slowly, when they segregated the garbage to sukha kachra, gila kachra, you have to put them separately, and they pointed out again and again whole day. The vans were run and the sound system was there, and they were telling same thing continuously to them. So the people who are not aware also, they thought that yes, we can do this, they are telling so much, so we should try it at least. And when they tried it, they saw the difference. And difference comes not in 2 months or 3 months, but when they saw the difference in 1 year, that oh wow, this is the city we can see and we can achieve this. So now every common people who is not literate, who is not aware about technicalities of these things, if you throw the garbage on the road, he will say, don't do this, this is my city and I want to make it clean. So this is the difference every city has to make. And the main, like Swachhata Abhiyan was not innovation of BJP, it was long before in 2000. But how it was marketed and how it reached the common people, it was the contribution of this government. And I want to take the name of mayor who is responsible for this, Mrs. Malini Gaur, who was the main person who took the decisions for this. And you can see the difference on the roads, like on the next day of the Diwali, what we see in our towns, the garbage of the patakas and all. But if you see in Indore, everything is there in night, but if when you wake up in the morning, everything is clean and you cannot say that yesterday this was there. So this is the changes they have made through the government and by the people. So the contribution of both have made this difference. And I believe that every city and every people should think on this topic. Thank you.
Wonderful. I would like to add what Mrs. Malini did in Indore was, so if there is a local public transport bus going on and somebody throws something from the window, the municipal corporation vehicle will start following that bus. And whenever they stop, they will go inside the bus and they will install a dustbin. So, a lack of dustbin can be, I remember a few years ago I was in Mussoorie at a very beautiful site and I ate a banana. And I roamed with the banana skin in my hand for the next 2 hours because there was no dustbin inside. So, fekoge kahan? So, Mrs. Malini did that. There is a lane in Indore for all those who are chart lovers. You can go and visit it. That is called as Chappan Dukaan. But abhi to wahan 200 chappan dukanein ho gayi hain. In that lane, every chart wala has got 3 dustbins. Every chart wala. You cannot see it in any other city in India.
I think the biggest advantage of what I saw, we just came from Indore. I was really amazed compared to what I saw 30 years back. But main advantage from medical standpoint, communicable disease will decrease because there were no water stagnancy, there were no kachra. So I think it was amazing what one city has done. It should be spread the message to all over the world, not just to India, because this would be mind-boggling what they have done. So really, good job for you guys.
Thank you, sir.
So I think we've talked about early child development, we've talked about nutrition and hygiene and cleanliness. So clearly we are focusing on prevention. This is where India or America or any country in the world will never have enough funds to cure everybody of every illness. It's not going to happen. And so the more we can focus on prevention, the greater is our opportunity of creating a world that has no diseases. So what we call as a healthcare system is not a healthcare system. It's a disease management system. Because from the time of Louis Pasteur and Lord Lister, this idea has been, let's focus on the leading causes of death or disease or disability. So at that time it was cholera, then there was smallpox, then there was, so we picked one of, and again new diseases are coming. And now there are not one germ, one disease, this thing. Now there is diabetes or hypertension. There are multifactorial, multi-genetic, polygenic, kind of diseases. We will never be able to address each one of them and be able to cure everybody of diabetes, of hypertension, of stroke, of cardiac, infarction, myocardial infarction or something. heart attack. But if we focus instead of the management of diseases, disabilities and death, we can focus on the leading causes of life. And what are those leading causes of life? So I'm going to ask this question, and I really want people who have not spoken, what is it that strengthens life, that makes life more vibrant, more energized? So let's brainstorm. If we can feed into those energies, and I took this cue from one experience. I grew up in Calcutta, and at that time, 1965 war was going on, and somebody came to Mother Teresa and said, we are doing a rally against war. Can you please come and join us in this rally? So she said, no. When you're doing a rally for peace, then I'll come and join you. So if we put our energy into strengthening the leading causes of life, rather than putting our money into, this disease management or that disease management program, insulin distribution program or whatever it is, then, so I want to hear from everybody, what are the leading causes of life, what that supports and strengthens life. So, students, any answer is the right answer. So please come up. What do you think? What are the leading causes of life? How can they be enhanced or strengthened?
So how we live life, right? What is the lifestyle? It matters a lot. So how we live our life, what is our lifestyle, what our daily routine we follow, that is what strengthens the life, right? So as ma'am was talking about discipline, and everyone here is talking about that we are educating people, but I think the most important thing we are missing is that we always look for shortcuts, right? And we Indians are very lazy, basically. Why we go for, we know we can go for juice, right? We can buy 20 rupees banana juice or like that, but we still opt for chole samosa. Like, sir asked, what will you do if it's 10 a.m. in the morning, and what will you do? Like, we'll go and buy chole samosa, right? We'll not go for something like banana shake or something like that, just because we are lazy, right? We are not disciplined as much. And why, as ma'am also pointed out, that we give our children mobile phones and we put them in front of television. Why they do it? Because she also has some work to do, right? And constantly the kid is crying or something like that. So just to delay that thing, what a mother does is she gives her a phone, right? So that she is able to do her work. So instead of thinking that how we are educating people, maybe we have to change the way, right? How we are educating them. How we are telling that this is how you can do, right? The effects of what will happen, right?
Nobody's talking, so I'll open my mouth.
So it all boils down to lifestyle of an individual. We all want to be happy, and we want a temporary sensory pleasure. For some it is movies, some it is eating, some it is dancing and hip hop music, whatever. And everybody wants to be happy in an electrified way, stressing out. So the basic fundamental disturbances causing all these diseases is stressing out. Stressing out, producing more hypothalamic, pituitary, adrenal axis, cortisol surges. That is scarring the brain, that is scarring the heart, that is scarring the liver, gluconeogenesis, you get diabetes, you get obesity, if it is heart, sudden arrest of heart, that is called Sakato syndrome, making the heart muscles weak. And it is also gastric ulcers, irritable bowel syndrome, you name it. everything is related to this sympathetic system. Nobody is stopping and saying, can I teach my child how to do Om Bhurbhuva Swaha? That would increase the focus in the brain. Even chanting of Om, when you take Gayatri chanting, it is nothing other than universal, and it is not religious. And if anybody can explain to any religion of using this Om Bhurbhuva Swaha or even Om chanting, because Herbert Bennett did studies on Vaheguru, Amen, Shalom, and Om, which one relaxes the brain and connects to this focus center that gives self-regulation, expression, impulse control. We want immediately something done, instant gratification. That is what is causing the problem in the society. And there is a way of raising a child's brain to not to be that. 0 to 5 years is our opportunity. Going forward, we lost human values of relationships with love giving and forgiving, self-giving and forgetting. And so everybody wants a free meal, but nobody wants to contribute to how I can help the other. It's a human value. And there are so many human values Baba's organization gives. But the fundamental is stress and poor lifestyle, where we have abandoned the Vedic tradition of connecting with the Vedic way of life and using for sensory gratification through stress hormones, and establishing loving relationships within the family unit. Within the family unit. And that family unit is a biological unit of the society, and the society is getting disturbed. One autistic child is enough to disturb the whole neighborhood and that family is drained. It takes about 15,000 rupees per hour to give ABA therapy. Why to get there when we know we have means to prevent? That's what is mine. And it is individual education, individual morality. I got to say, but this should be promoted through media and public media education free of cost.
I just wanted to share, I totally agree with you. What my personal experience is for 45 years as a cardiologist, what you are saying, what's important is diseases disturb our needs. Who's causing it? We are causing it. Happy hormones are more important, so releasing endorphin with the good people and having this installation of valuation when the children are between age 0 to 10 is very important for all the society. Whether you believe it in Christianity, Hinduism or Islam, doesn't matter. But fundamental is loving yourself, respecting yourself and accepting everybody is important. And having my cardiac patient with after angioplasty, I cannot prevent it from what is going to happen unless they change the behavior. So as you mentioned, lifestyle change is very important, staying away from smoking, reducing the weight, avoiding the packaged meals and packaged meat is very important. So enrolling them in cardiac rehab program helps them to understand mindfulness and yoga teaching. And yoga is now accepted in USA. There are a lot of data which says yoga prevents a lot of chronic pain, a lot of diseases. So I think we have to love ourselves and try to help what we have achieved for the last 5,000 years. And as you mentioned, nutrition and lifestyle change is very important. Expression of gene is important. There are hardly any genetic disorders. But we can change our genetic expression by behaving differently. Nobody makes you angry. It's not my action toward you is going to make you angry, but your reaction toward my action is going to make angry. So I think that's very important how we instill the value to our children. Versus children, parents get angry at children, what are they going to happen? If parents stop drinking alcohol, children are likely to drink alcohol. So I think it's very important we need to bring this change positively by storytelling or in academics. What I saw in Mumbai, and Dr. Kanan, correct me if I'm wrong, what we talked about at mental health disorder at IIT, children who are supposed to be brightest, they were telling us that for 5 years we have lost our childhood, we are preparing for IIT. And after getting accepted IIT, they are still stressed. So stress, nobody gives you stress, it's how you react to the situation is important. And we have all the scriptures who has taught us, so that's why integration of Our whole ancient medicine with allopathy is very important. Allopathy is not going to do anything except for acute care ailment taken care of. For chronic disease management, we are useless. We all know that. So I think we need to learn that everything is not. We need to be custom made for every disease. And that is very important for the student. Just apply what you learn. Don't try to apply everything, cookbook medicine, what we have mandated to do in USA. It is not necessarily good. I hate to say that, but that's true. And Dr. Arun, correct me if I'm saying.
I would like to add to what Viduji said. If those who get into IIT are under stress, think about the 99% who don't get it. It's a big problem. In fact, it's a crisis. It's a crisis.
Okay, so we've digressed a little bit. I want to hear from students who have not spoken up before. So, what are the leading causes of life?
Sir, as the Honorable Delegate has talked about the stress, in Bhagavad Gita there is a slok, Apurnamanam Achala Pratishtham Samundra Mahapa Pravishanti Advat Tadvat Kama Yam Pravishanti Sarve Shashanti Mapnoti Nakama Kami. Sir, in our life we have been never talked about what we have to give importance. Sir, I too have prepared for IIT and I have wasted my whole 2 year 11th 12th preparing and make my life full of sir. And I really think that in those 2 years I never made friends, and now I am in a BHU now I have started interacting and making friends. So in our life we have been never taught this thing, at what time we should give importance to what sort of thing, and that is I think most important thing we should taught to us, and that is I am talking to my sister, and he has Instagram channel where he is posting art and all other things, and she's in 11th and 12th. And
very good morning, sir. I want to say that doing things for others, that is the thing that can help you to evolve yourself and find out who you are, because it gives you a immense sense of pleasure and happiness when you do things for others. So I think doing things for others also helps to evolve as a person. Thank you, sir.
Any other comments?
We have to shift the focus only from disease and illness to wellness.
Yes.
What is the meaning of well-being? See, a person who becomes sick after a certain age, has an NCD, is already sick. But for the young people, they should know what is well-being, what is wellness, and what can lead them towards wellness. What is the composition of a happy mind and a healthy body? If they learn it at a young age, they won't grow sick. And as she mentioned, no, the purpose of life is a life of purpose. They should know what is the purpose of life and what gives them contentment and satisfaction.
Absolutely. So going from I to we becomes illness to wellness.
Yes.
So that is a very, very, key thing we should. Anybody else? Anybody in the back? Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, I want to also point out, sir, self-realization is the thing that a person needs to understand. Like sir, if I'm doing certain thing and understanding that what I am capable of and what I am up to is the most important thing. I have been also prepared for IIT. I have cracked IIT, the JEE mains I have cracked. In advance, unfortunately I was unable to crack it, and in the state level exam I have also scored very well. So, but at a point of time, it was important for me to understand that what level I am up to. Because having over expectations, not realizing the things as it is, cause a very stress and creates an imbalance. So, sir, what I learned is that expecting the thing as it is. First stage is expecting the thing as it is, and if a person is able to realize that, okay, this is the level where I belongs to or where I am, and then starting to leap forward, can create a better difference and help to evolve better person.
Very good. Yeah, accepting. Acceptance is a big thing. Anybody else? Any leading causes of life?
So I think.
Go ahead.
Self-assessment before judging others. We should first self-assess ourselves. If we are self-assessing, then we can find out the right way to the life. And it is not important that you should always be right. You may be wrong, but it's important others, and then we should like expect from others. So self-expectation, self-analysis, self-assessment is the like foremost thing you should do in your life.
And that's what mindfulness and all of these spiritual practices allow us to do. Yeah.
When we try to understand the other person's perspective,
Yes, sir.
our thinking changes when we try to think from there.
Yes, their perspective. Yes, sir. That's very important.
Any other DD causes of life?
I think there are three aspects which we have to consider when we are dealing about this. One is physical, then mental, and then we can go on to the spiritual part of our life. When it comes to physical, Ayurveda talks about two things mainly, Dinacharya and Ahara Paddhati. That's what we had learned when I was studying. We had a paper on Ayurveda. So, Dinacharya, the daily timetable what we follow, a fixed timetable or a specified timetable which we follow, which enhances our quality of life, and Ahara Paddhati which goes well with our system. So our body is made in a certain way, the food which goes in that, in accordance with that thing will help. So this is physical. Mental, my understanding is that the main cause of peace or being happy is doing what we love. What happens when we were small, they used to say, when you grow big, you have to become software engineer, you have to earn money, you have to get a government job. That's all they say in our villages, because I come from a village background. So they say, if you get a government job, that's all we want for you. They don't say anything. They say, get a government job, you get a permanent job, you get all the facilities in life, you'll be happy. But what we understand is that as we grow, it is not what social status we are in, what job we are doing. It mainly matters, are we loving what we are doing? Because if I am doing something, if I am giving my life for something which I don't like, that causes mental issues, hypertension, whatever we can think of. Many problems root from there because we went in as a compulsion. Because when we were studying for 10th, after they say you have to go into science, then you have to go for a doctor or medicine or engineering. That's what they push, even if we don't like them. My interest may be in music, my interest might be in teaching. So doing what we love and creating opportunities for the children, all the children, to just follow their passion, to do what they love. So this is the second one which I want to tell. The third one is the spiritual aspect of our life. Actually, when we were small, we thought spirituality is something religious, but it's not. Spirituality is something which gives a huge amount of balance in our life. To take blame, to take success and failure in a very balanced way. So that's what I think enhances the quality of life which we have. In Bhagavad Gita, when we were studying, we had a shloka. Yukta ahara viharasya, yukta chestasu karmasu, yukta swapnava bodhasya, yogo bhavati dukkha. So the main path to happiness is yukta ahara, in the balance.
Beautiful thoughts being expressed. I think it is making peace with yourself. If you are at peace with yourself, you are comfortable in your skin, who you are, don't try to be anybody different than who you are. Don't have ambitions. I think what they're saying. Don't have ambitions which are beyond your capacity. Be comfortable with who you are. Every person on this earth is special. They have something special in them. Discover that thing which makes you so special, so unique, so powerful. And once you do that, then you'll be at peace with yourself.
One more point is psychological flexibility. Wherever there is rigidity, whether it is in the body or in the mind, will cause stress. If we are able to stretch and be flexible, we are able to understand and accept other people's point of views. We are able to listen to what people are saying, what they are trying to say. Then that acceptance and that that, leader is not the one who influences others. Leader is the one who is ready to get influenced by others. So that.
Very good. Very well put. Yeah.
One of the main challenges is the young guy, he may be very happy, content, but the challenge is the expectation from the family and from society that they expect so much from him. If he says I'm cool, I'm happy, they won't listen to him. They say no, you have to get this done. That's a big deal.
See, from my perspective, if I say we cannot change anybody, we need to change ourselves, and we have to learn to accept everybody the way they are. So one of our old poet, I remember him as a child, Narsi Mehta. He was always happy in every condition. He just accepted the way it is. So his hormones are always static. That's why we call in Hindi Sthita Prajna. हर एक अवस्था में तुम्हारी प्रज्ञा एक ही जगह है. So that is something what we learn as a child. I think we should try to implement. That would not. And other thing what I've noticed, intellectual people tend to use a lot of words of uncertainty. What, why, could be, should be. Tend to avoid them. Only speak what you want. Only think what you want. Only visualize what you want. And then 90-second rule, don't respond to the people who don't agree with you. Because 90 seconds is the most important thing to avoid your dynamic blood pressure change, which can really rise the blood pressure suddenly and release the cortisol. And that is very important. We all have learned. Unfortunately, we all tend to change. So my humble request to all you future, you all are our future.
Actually, there is one point which I thought I should also add over here, considering myself also over here, is most of the times it all, I mean, sir, you know, the concept of positive or negative, it all starts with that energy, and that energy is in the form of thought, right? Let's say, let's be very honest, how many times do we really think positively about ourselves? How many times do we really think about ourselves first of all? You know, the moment we get up, okay, you'll be very happy, and I'll be also happy if you're thinking about God. Okay, if you don't think about God, what is the next thing you think about somebody else? But what are you thinking about that somebody else? It's always negative. Oh, that person got good marks because the students are here, I can probably compare it that way. Or today I have to study well because that person I need to beat him. You know, always competition. Always thinking negative. You know, I'm not looking good. You know, she's looking good. You know, this kind of peer pressure, competition. It's always, why is that we are always used to this kind of mind where it's always negatively we are thinking. I'm telling, for example, you get up in the morning, oh, today I got up very nice, such a nice place, let me enjoy, go out for a walk. How many people really are thinking like that? So what I'm saying is that always we have to watch our thoughts. If the thoughts are positive, then automatically what next comes is your words. If your words are positive, automatically your deeds will also be positive. If your deeds are positive, your character will be positive. You know, look at it. It all starts with that simple thing of thought. Negative thought, that's it. We are down for the day. It all makes a difference over there.
That's excellent. So I wanted to let particularly our students know that there is a Leading Causes of Life Institute. It's an international institute, and I'm a fellow of that. And it's not based on the Indian culture or the spirituality that we all grew up with, and we are still immersed in that. But according to this particular institute, there are 5 leading causes of life. 5 leading causes, and in that, all of the things that have been mentioned, will find some form of expression. So one of the leading causes of life is coherence. Coherence. How do we make sense of life? How do we accept or make sense, or how does life make sense of us? How do our parents? So that being coherent or finding a sense of coherence is very important. It's a leading cause of life. This is opposing to the pathogenesis. This is salutogenesis. This is a salutogenesis is how to enhance the positive, the health promoting, the life giving forces within us. So that is, coherence is one. When you don't understand something, it causes a lot of stress. So to avoid that stress, we try to look for coherence. The second cause of life is connectivity. Without connectivity, no one can exist in a vacuum. We are all connected together, and ultimately we are all connected as one universal being. And our scriptures have said, Vasudev Kutumbakam. What happens to one of us happens to all of us. So that connectivity, people have shown that those who have more human connections, they live longer. That people who have more relationships, more human connections, they have a much higher. When you connect with another person, what happens is it releases this hormone in your brain called oxytocin. In my research, which I have a research lab, it's called the Child Wellness Lab at Stanford, and we're doing cutting edge research on this, is this oxytocin we found 5 years ago. Oxytocin is a hormone that is the strongest inhibitor of the stress axis, the axis that releases cortisol, increases your blood pressure, makes you obese, makes you hypertensive, Oxytocin blocks that. And I'll give you a small example. Child is playing on the ground, she's running, she runs down, she's, scrapes her knee, she's crying, other children are laughing at her, and she's in a curled up position. Suddenly mother comes, gives her a hug, says, it's okay. And within seconds, what happened in that interaction? Oxytocin was released, her stress system was shut down, she's back in the game, confident and active and vibrant with life. That connectivity is important. So when you do things for others, you're connecting. When you're feeding the children, you're connecting with those 1 billion children every day. So that connectivity is the second cause of life. Third cause of life is this intergenerativity. What do we mean with intergenerativity is everything that has happened in the generations before me is given to me as a blessing. So the Bhagavad Gita was handed down through generations after generations. The wisdom of that is given to me as a blessing. Now I may not connect with it, I may not acknowledge it, I may not even know about it, but it is there as a blessing. So that intergenerativity, whatever we do in our lives, we will leave that as a legacy for future generations. That interconnectivity is impossible. Without that interconnectivity, life cannot exist. The third, the intergenerativity, connectivity is one, intergenerativity, that's why there is so much concern about climate change and environmental degradation and all that. We'll be talking about that in this conference. So that intergenerativity. The fourth cause of life is agency, human agency. We know and we can do something about it. We are active agents, we are motivated, we are connected, and we can make each one of us deep down, no matter where you are and what you're doing, you know that you can make a difference. You know deep down at the bottom of your heart, core of your heart, you know if you try hard enough, you can change the world. You can change yourself. And as a result of that, the world, jaisa drishti, vaisi srishti. So if you change yourself, the world around you changes. A hostile person lives in a hostile universe. A loving person lives in a loving universe, where every leaf and every flower and every bird and bee and mosquito is sharing love, with that person. So that's the human agency. And then the last one is hope. Now, hope is not wishful thinking. Hope is not like a Pollyanna desire of, everything will be good. Tomorrow when I wake up, everything will disappear. No. Hope is our ability, only humans have it, our ability to imagine a better future and bring the entire force of our being to make that future happen. to bring that future to our experience. So those are the 5 leading causes of life. We did an experiment in Memphis about 2009, so maybe 13 years ago, 12, 13 years ago. We said we'll have a experiment whereby any patient who comes to a healthcare system, you see, Memphis, Tennessee is a tale of 2 cities. There are the haves and the have-nots. There's a lot of racism even today, and there's extreme poverty. I have not seen such degree of poverty in India as I've seen in Memphis or in Mississippi. There is 7 times more impoverished Mississippi is than Bangladesh. 7 times. There are towns where 80% people are unemployed. They have no food to eat, nothing. Anyway, so we did this experiment that every patient that comes to the healthcare system will have a liaison, a healthcare liaison from their own community who comes with them to make sure they are coming to the right place at the right time and ready to be treated. This one simple, thing. What we did this experiment. We trained about healthcare liaisons there are 2,500 churches and other temples. We created 5 people. We trained 5 people from every church. And so when anyone from that church showed up for healthcare, somebody was with them to show them where to go, what to do, how to get a registration and all that. Just this simple intervention dropped the mortality rate by half. And we did it for disease match, like whether it's diabetes, whether it's stroke, whether it's heart attack, whatever is the disease match, their mortality rate, the hospitalization was cut to 1/3 of what comparable people who did not have a liaison, So over 2 or 3 years, we realized that the healthcare costs were so much with this one little intervention, which is, like Dr. Madhvalia was saying, when you take it to scale, now if this is done all across America, the healthcare budget will go from, $24 trillion down to, whatever, I don't know, it'll be cut in half or 1/3. So these are, what we find is when you enhance one of the leading causes of life, it enhances all the other 4 that you didn't interact. So I think this is one of the things that I want to share as an intervention that we could do in our villages, is how to improve coherence. Like you have a lump over there, it's not Bhagwan ka kuch, ashubh ho gaya. No. It's help them to understand, okay, this is because of a particular type of disease. If we take it, treat it, help them to understand where did their high blood pressure come from. So much salt, not enough fresh vegetables and fruits. So all of those things, if you coherence, then connectivity, intergenerativity, human agency, and hope. Those are the 5 things. And if we can impart that through our educational systems and through our healthcare system, we will enhance the wellness and well-being in our society. I just wanted to share this few comments.
Thank you so much. So I would like to take the opportunity to introduce our organization. So there was a lot of talk about human values, and you have already made that prelude for me to just sum it up in a couple of sentences. We are Feeling Mind Social Welfare Trust and HEMA Foundation. HEMA Foundation is working on human values and with school children. And what we have done, in school, we used to have a subject called as moral science, where there used to be a small book on moral science, and there was no marks attached to it, तो बहुत अच्छा लगता था वो period सबको, क्योंकि उसके exam ही होनी है. But when you lecture children they easily get bored. And that's where storytelling comes in. When he said, to engage children or even adults, when you build a narrative or a story around it, they are more engaged and they are more influenced. So what we did, there are 48 values prescribed by the NCERT. So we took all those 48 values and with the help of our corporate CSR funding, we created 48 short movies on those values. And we created a curriculum around each movie, which we also measured. Sir mentioned measure what matters. So what we did, we created psychometric assessments. Pre-intervention assessment was done. Then the 3-week curriculum was prepared, which is available on himvirtues.com, that is our portal, free of cost, which can be accessed by all the schools in India and abroad. Our movies are dubbed in 4 languages, and we hope to do it in many more in the coming future. And then a post-intervention. So let us say there is hope as one of the values over there. So are they hopeful, or are they, gloomy about their own future? What is it that they're thinking? And then the movie comes in, the pre-movie MCQs, the post-movie MCQs, the tasks that they have to do, the projects, as the NEP requires us to do. There is a healing through stories section where there is a narration of a story by a creative director, Mrs. Anita Maheshwari. And all this was conceptualized by the managing director of RR Cables, which is a big conglomerate in India, and we have exports in 70 countries. His name is Mahendraji Kabra, and he conceived it in the memory of his wife, Srimati Hemaji Kabra, who died of a sudden cardiac arrest in her sleep at the age of 50. So she was my Guru Behan, and so our Guruji Swami Govind Giriji Maharaj, who is the treasurer of Ram Mandir Trust. So he called me up and he said that, in memory of Hema, we want to do something. And Mahendraji said that I want to do something on values, because Hema was a person who lived a value-based life. She was a very caring person. She used to take care of each and every person that used to come to her house. And her nickname was Annapurna, because she would not let anybody go without food. So we thought that we will do something on value education. And so this is our organization, Hema Foundation, where we have now reached 3 lakh students in 5,000 schools in India. And we hope to reach to each school and each student in our country, where we are having no lecture policy, only experiential learning, discussions and deliberations about what kind of a life they envisage for themselves, and how would they want to lead a life as a citizen of India in the future. Thank you so much.
I can share a little experience and that information with you, because I myself I was given 3 sanitary schools where there were discipline problems, elementary schools, and the person who heard about me about the brain networks and early interventions said, why don't you take up these schools and teach the principal and the teachers that the children come with the packages, and that the learned experiences of the adults makes a difference in approaching them in relationships. It's a summarization of what my brother said. So I explained how the prenatal determinants like smoking, alcohol and everything has affected the zygote,
But it is after birth everything happens, and these are the factors and these are the gaps, and we can close up those gaps. It's an uphill battle, but let's do it. So when the parents came and heard about that, they were drinking every single day to forget about their assault. They both were assaulted. Their child was not doing very well because this is what he was living with inebriated parents. And there was one ADHD who was not even responding to treatment. Like that, there were a domino effect of many things. Everybody started looking at that they were not responsible for the current trauma that happened. They were not responsible, that they should really live a good habit. And then I used to teach yoga, the Loma Viloma, alternate breathing exercises. And that was implemented by the school for 1 minute, and every day they announced for a positive thought for the day and an application, how they would live for that. I started that in 2006, the first lecture, and gave tools for the behavior modification with the Satya Dharma Shanti Prema. The Satya is there is the planets, the sun, moon, and the stars, they come every day with discipline. And then the fruit of a tree is your good behavior, your empathy, love, sympathy, and empathy. And the love is a pyramid. So they were like, whoever attains all these, there was a behavior modification, tangible reward system, and so on. That helped the school. They, instead of 565 discipline problems per year, is a 3-inch binder, came down to 65 altogether because the teachers changed, parents changed, and then the administration was also looking at yoga and meditation as an alternative. So the kids who were agitated used to come to the pilot program and say, I want to do the breathing techniques Dr. C gave, so I want to calm down myself. So this does help, and unlearning what they have learned for every adult should be taught when the baby is born by every healthcare provider, whether it is Asha worker, Anganwadis, primary healthcare centers. That's when you start the game.
Yes.
That's when you finish the game. That's when you prevent. If you started today, you would have raised in the next 3 years very focused children who want to be helpful for the society.
Yes. Yes.
I want to just share my experience in what we are going to do. I'm part of the Wills Global Foundation, and as Dr. Kanan said, we want to implement mental health as a major factor through our application. And we already started this for the last 2 years, and we have reached more than 350 villages. Wills Global Foundation is an IIT company, and we are based in USA, but associated with a lot of physicians and the rural development of India. And our goal, one of my mental health director, Dr. Anand has met, his name is Ishan Sivanand. I just want to share, he has published more than 10 studies in USA in the last 2 years during COVID time. And we had more than 80% reduction in acute anxiety, depression, and greatest improvement was also in the performance of American athletes, especially Olympians. These studies are published in collaboration with Mayo Clinic and University of Maryland, University of Cincinnati, etc. So I think we want to bring it to scale it to the every rural village. What you are doing, it can be given on application at no cost to the people, and we are already in process of training Asha worker and what we call Sahayak, which we pay for them as a complement to what we have done for in USA. Now we want to bring it back to us, our society, to help young children, to the college students, and to the teachers who also are facing same burnout. And we have big issue in USA, all physicians, 50% burnout in the last 2 years. And as you know, pandemic has already started for mental health. So our goal is to do both non-communicable disease and mental health, which is the root cause of all the diseases, mental. So I think this is what we are trying to just wanted to share. The Wills Global Foundation is doing something for not just for India, but also there. Also, we are trying to raise the fund and we are trying to give it back to India. So all of your help will be very essential to guide us what we can do to help people who need the most. And as the, one of the things which most of you might be aware of, Manas has started by Prime Minister Modi on 11th of October, which a lot of people are not aware of. There is acute mental health which is already discussed, but most of my physician friends in India, they are not aware of how to take care of those acute care emergency. And what I am proposing, that we have created in Bucks County what we call suicidal emergency. So we have 800 number where anybody in Bucks County has a suicidal thought or intention, they are intervene and help, because we have very high incidence of suicide and mental health disorders. So I think some of the things very important all over the world. Whatever we learn from one country, we can pass it on to other country. So what you guys are doing is amazing, and what you speak, I really love it. But I think yoga is the most important to de-stress the people, and mindfulness for 90 seconds can help. If we instill this value to every child, love yourself, accept yourself, and respect yourself, I think there will be a lot of less stress to the people. And at least in Mumbai, what I've seen, which should not happen to any other city. Since they're 3 years old, they're stressed out to get admission in school, in private school in Mumbai. And that we take away the childhood.
Do you know the most leading cause of problems? A 6-year-old in 2014, 39% anxiety neurosis. 39% of 6-year-olds, World Health Organization, global study, Kathleen Medical University, that only increased after the COVID. And second leading cause of death is among the youth is suicide.
Yeah.
And where
15 to 30 age group.
The roots
Now
were
it's,
0
the rates of suicide from that age group of 9 to 14 years
is increasing.
Yeah, it has increased threefold in the last 4 years. 3 times.
Now we are also talking about something called as demoralization syndrome, which is prevalent in this age group. And we have started Men's Mental Health Forum recently, because the NCRB data, National Crime Records Bureau data in India for 2021 is saying 72.59% of suicides were suicidal deaths were by men in India, and 25% of them were by laborers. So we need to look at men's mental health on a priority basis now, because they are sucking up a lot of stress and not talking about it to anyone because of the stereotypical image of being strong always and not being, able to come out with their vulnerabilities.
And this all started, that's what I've been trying to say, is as a weak foundation of their early brain networks. Before they were 3, they didn't know. And it is the way they were raised, the rigidity or permissiveness, poverty, lack of opportunities, deep-rooted inequities, social determinants, that has disturbed the global society. And today we have to stop it by transforming the society, by promoting the education. Is that you became that way because this is what happened. Look at it, change it, and these are the tools. One is lifestyle medicine, and genes, everybody said autism is genes. It is not. It is like what the lifestyle of the parents that decided, what they were exposed to in the environment, which is called environmental epigenetics, and what they are not eating as a right food that would prevent the excited brain to be stimulated. Nutritional epigenetics is very important, and every nerve fiber needs to be protected by having
myelin sheath.
Myelin sheath, and that comes from food and the bionic balance in the gut, and people have not connected them. And this also helps the immune system and to prevent the cancer too. And so not only the stress is a part, but what we are not doing to stimulate these senses and feeding the senses to create a robust net. So tomorrow, my brother has given me an opportunity to show at least a few scans. I cannot talk about 21-hour material in 15 minutes. Maybe I'll go a couple of minutes more, but I will show a video emotional and physical, they are raising children under 34 years of age. These are the steps.
In psychology, ma'am, now we are talking about trauma-informed therapy, where we are, where we are, saying that every therapist has to get trained into childhood trauma. Unless you are informed about that, you'll not be able to do cognitive behavior therapy or rational emotive behavior therapy or other interventions, unless you take into account what they went through in their childhood.
0 to 3 brain network is the cause for all the disorders we are seeing. And we need to prevent that and then probably not be able to fix. That's why as college as medicine is fractured. Medical care and healthcare is fractured. We are looking at the external. We are not looking at the emotional aspect. That has caused a lot of disturbances. The foods we eat, the lifestyle we choose is all related.
Okay, I think we'll bring this to a close. Any last comments? I want each person to share the one thing that they're going to take away from this this brainstorming session. We've talked about so many different topics, and please everyone turn on your mic and give the one comment. So I'll start from this end.
Hello, yeah. So the takeaway from me was that the main foundation, the initial 3 to 8 years or maybe 7 years, that's the basic thing, and which Aristotle has said. You give me a man for 7 years, a child for 7 years, I will make you a man. So that's what takeaway from me.
Takeaway from me from this brainstorming session is that the nutrition and the food that will help in getting the healthy mind and the healthy body, and the stress management, yoga kind of things.
Okay, so my key takeaways are like how we can improve our life cycle, our daily lifestyle, and how we can improve our food quality, that is the nutritional quality, so that we can have our healthy habit. So because we all know that healthy mind only stays in a healthy body. So it is very necessary to enjoy the life, to make life more interesting. We need to keep our mind healthy, our healthy life. So we should always practice these things. Thank you.
So the takeaway for me was as shared by you, the leading causes of life and how to live a fulsome life, to be in a better mental space, as it is also connected to our physical well-being.
So first of all, I would like to thank all the speakers, and I got this opportunity to interact with such insightful expertise. The key takeaways were numerous key takeaways, like the 90-second rule that was shared, and then doing what you love, as shared by sir, and then the spiritual aspect of anybody's life. Then one should be a good listener first, then be the good speaker. Then the positive and negative sides of life and how we should approach them, and how our thoughts influence our words, and how words influence our deeds, and how deeds influence the characteristics. These all things are, I think, really helpful in will help me to cross the pitfalls that will lie in front of my life. Thank you.
Fantastic. Do you want to share?
Away from my side is happiness, and a peaceful life is ignored.
Can we start in the back over there? I'm sorry if I'm putting you on the spot. I don't want to put you on the spot, but it would be good. We have to measure what matters, So if you've sat here for 3 hours of your life, at least something you can take away from this.
The takeaway for me is that we should always eat healthy food, the nutrition values that you have taught, and also we should be self-acceptance. We should not compare ourselves to others, and also the mental wellness is also very important.
Yeah, you're 100% special, unique person. no one in the 7.5 or 7.8 billion people is exactly like you.
So firstly, I would like to thank all the delegates for sharing their experiences with us and telling us about what are the leading causes of life. Because in our opinion, because in every personal opinion, there may be different experiences. Such as for some it may be hope, for some it may be human values, for some it may be satisfaction. But to tell it in a nutshell, that was the main thing. And also with the help of this conference, we got to know about the various trusts which are working, such as Sir talked about the Annapurna Trust, then we have HEMA Foundation. So it instills us or it forces us to think of the ways how we can join hands and contribute our part to it. So that was, thank you, sir.
Fantastic. Go ahead.
The takeaway for me is to have an attitude of self-acceptance and attitude of having an acceptance toward others and adopting a flexible psychological attitude and adopting a healthy eating habit, taking those things which have nutritional values for our body.
So the main thing which this session is how to achieve a good lifestyle. The most important thing for everyone is a good life and what we can do to achieve that. That's the takeaway for me.
यदि परमिशन हो तो मैं हिंदी में बात करूं।
प्लीज
बहुत अच्छा यहाँ डिस्कशन हुआ कि हम कैसे हेल्दी रहें और क्या खाएं। तो मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि हम लोग हेल्दी फूड के बारे में क्यों डिस्कस किए। हम क्या सांस लेते हैं, क्या पानी पीते हैं, क्या खाते हैं, ये तीनों इम्पोर्टेंट। केवल हम खाने पे कब खाएं, कितना खाएं, कैसा खाएं, ये तो हमने सोचा, लेकिन कब पानी पिए, कितना पानी पिए, किस क्वालिटी का पानी पिए, इसके बारे में हम लोग छूट गए। और उसी तरह हमारी हवा, ऑक्सीजन, प्राणावायु, वायु के बारे में है जो तो कोई हम लोग डिस्कस ही नहीं करते, जो कि सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट है। मैं इस पर ध्यान दिलाना चाहता हूँ कि हम लोग इस पे भी डिस्कस करें कि हमारा वायु, एयर पोल्यूशन जो बढ़ रहा है वो कैसे कम हो, वाटर क्वालिटी कैसे इम्प्रूव हो, आरओ वाटर जो है हम न पिए, आरओ कितना खराब है, उस पर हम लोग को विचार करना चाहिए। धन्यवाद।
Any takeaway?
So good afternoon everyone. The key takeaway for me would be we talked about healthy body houses a healthy brain. So I have been practicing spirituality since I think 2 to 3 years. I am a person who gives a good amount of my morning routine to yoga and pranayama. And so it is very important for us to eat right and talk right. Lastly, we also talked about the traditional Indian grains like jawar, ragi, and we are encountering the problem of lowering the water table in states like Punjab and Haryana, which are leading producers of these grains. So I think we should, not only government, but we should also as a key stakeholder should take initiatives so that in our daily eating habits we change the rice and wheat with these traditional grains, so that as a consumer and all the demand and supply chain, there is a big change in overall ecosystem.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank all the delegates who have spoken today. And like life is a tragedy of what we eat and healthcare and nutrition. And the most important thing is the healthy adage is our body stood the test of time. Whenever we need our body, whatever we feed our body, it stands for us whenever we need it. So it is the most important thing which we need. And sir, I would like to thank you for giving the leading causes of life. That has actually reminded me of a book which I have read. which is Ikigai, which told us about the leading factors of which, people in Japan, there's a place known as Okinawa, where people are known for living a healthy lifestyle and living with coherence and integrativeness, like you have talked about. So it has given me the inputs regarding that, because I read it and now you have given me more inputs about that. So it is a very important thing that like there people live a healthy lifestyle and live till 101 or 100 years. So that is very important because they take care of their body. That is why they are able to live like that. So thank you so much.
Excellent. Yeah, it reminds me of an article I had written once where I talked about it's not the one thing or the one big thing or the one major event in your life. It's the tyranny of tiny temptations and tiny troubles, little things that add up. It's that the tyranny of those influences that help to derail us from our goal of becoming divine, our goal of getting to the full potential of what a human being has. So let's move on to the next row.
So first of all, very good afternoon to everyone. I am Vikrant Kaur. My key takeaways from this session. So nutrition is important and it is our need. And my suggestion, I'm going to add a single suggestion for this. But when we talk about nutrition, so we need to track it from our initial stage, like baby nutrition and so on. So it will be more beneficial for the upcoming generation and the society. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity to present the key takeaways for me. After discussion, what I was able to get is that the way to a beautiful and healthy life starts from the self-love and also the caring for the others. We have discussed here about the nutrients, which is the most important aspects that people often use to neglect it. And whether it is an adult or a baby, it is important to take care of it. And also, as very rightly said, eat right and talk right in this session, which one needs to take care of. And also, we have also talked about this leading cause of life, which was given by you, sir. The 5 causes, that is coherence, connectivity, intergenerativity, agency, and hope, are the new thing that I learned, and I think to imbibe it, all this thing in myself and apply this in my life, and also so that not only I can not only develop myself, evolve myself, but I can told other to evolve. That's all.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank you for providing such a platform for the healthy discussion. The key takeaway for me is about the 5 leading causes of life and connecting it with the thoughts of self-actualization and removing the negative thoughts, and also about becoming aware about Rupee 1 app and clicker system, and most importantly, being aware of the wellness and lifestyle. Thank you.
So first of all, thank you for coming here to Varanasi from Harvard. So it's a very we don't get chance to meet Harvard people, so it's a big thing. And the second thing is that what I learned is this peace with myself and the acceptance towards what I am. And it's also important that not everyone in this world will be able to get a good nutrition food, but everyone in this world can do is that whenever they are having the food, they should have a very humble thought that whatever we are getting from the God, it is just what we can have.
Thank you so much, sir. The takeaway for me is that we should take conscious decisions for our health. When we are taking decisions for our careers and every other aspect of life, we are very conscious. But when it comes to our health, we don't think much. We just eat, we are eating everything, whatever, junk food and anything. So we must take conscious decisions for our health. That is the takeaway.
Excellent. We can live a conscious life, be consciously aware of what we are eating, and be not watching something while eating. Enjoy the taste, the texture, the everything aspect of. And at least what I like to think about is, I like to think about all the elements that have collaborated with each other to bring this food to my mouth. So the sun, the stars, the earth, the water, the air, the animals, the farmers, anybody and all of universe has conspired to get you this nutrition today. And so, and as you imbibe that nutrition, you say, as this belly is being filled, may all the bellies in all the universe be filled. And through that thought, there will be this abundance and we will be able to fill. There will be no child that goes hungry to school. There will be no one that ever sleeps on a hungry stomach. And it will happen if we can, just give this thought into creation.
Sir, I would like to add a little sentence. A few days back, I attended a conference of farmers. And there I realized the pain they are going through for their insurance money. And then I thought that how we waste the food. We just throw away the food and we don't care about that. But they are suffering too much for producing this food. So I would request each and everyone not to waste food. That's just what I would like to add.
Share any key takeaways?
Actually, I just joined the conference just now, so I'm just listening to what the people are saying. I'm just in a mood not to speak something because I've not imbibed anything what was going on here. So give me a bit, I'll just give my views.
Any comment?
As the man said, food waste is really a big issue for everyone all around the world. As we see, somewhere people don't get to eat even for 1 meal a day, and there are places where lots and lots of foods are wasted. So people must be aware.
So only the students get to share their takeaways.
My key takeaways from this wonderful session is to follow a consistent healthy lifestyle and accept the way you are. Thank you.
Thank you for providing opportunity to speak in front of such a great delegates. We learn lots of things from you, and my key takeaways from this session is comparison. We should compare our results with others, not the compare our activities, hard work, dedication with others. Just not compare result. We should also see their hard work, see their dedication that they have done in their past. And the thing is, doing things for others. I have listened once she says that doing things for others makes us happy. So we should do things for others. And everyone is unique. First, तो कंपेयर नहीं करना अपने आप को किसी और से, अपने आप में यूनिक हो आप तो खुश रहो, हैप्पी रहो, and develop healthy food habits. Just that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. First of all, my warm namaste to everyone. My takeaway is that we have to make our routine management. We have to manage our routine for mental health or physical health. If we talk about mental health, so we have to see, we have to think positively. And for physical health, we have to make our diet as in that we take some healthy food, fruits, etc. And we have to follow the yoga, and means we have to manage our routines very properly. And Sir said, for a healthy life, we have to follow something like that. Sir said, we have to follow the connectivity. Like sir has given one example that बच्चा गिर जाता है और सब लोग उसको देख के हंसते हैं, लेकिन जो माँ होती है वो उसको गले से लगा देती है, तो इसलिए उसको मोरल सपोर्ट मिलता है और वो फिर से उसका जो स्ट्रेस होता है वो खत्म हो जाता है. Sir has said about agency, other healthy life was fact, like जैसी दृष्टि वैसी सृष्टि. So we have to see positively, then we have to think positive. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a great learning session for me, and there were so many takeaways. And I also realized that you cannot pour from an empty cup. First, you need to take care of yourself. So I need to be more disciplined. If I want to see a change in a society, first I need to make change in myself. I should eat nutritious food. I should start with my family first, and then look out for ways that how can I help others who are not aware and contribute my best to the society. Thank you so much.
So just let's give a big hand to the students. They are the future, and they have such amazing capacity to grasp the essence, literally the essence of all that was discussed. You have amazing students. I'm so proud of all the responses from everyone. And I just wanted to thank all of you. I know it's been a long session. There was no structure. Purposefully, we did not want to put any bhashan into all of this. We wanted to make it as interactive and just as a brainstorming session. This evening, the conference will be inaugurated, and I hope you will all come and join the sessions. Come for the tracks, different tracks. The water and sanitation is another track. There's agriculture and farming as a third track. Education and skill development is track number 4. Energy and environment, track 5, and then track 6 is sustainable livelihoods. So all of these things are there. They're top experts. There are also 6 workshops on Sunday. Come and participate in those. And thank you all very much, particularly my distinguished speakers and guests over here. They bring so much experience and so much knowledge to make this conference a memorable one. Thank you.
Can I speak for a minute? Just wanted to share that Dr. Anand, thank you very much. He has been international leader, and this conference is we had opportunity to work with Stanford and to create this on behalf of WILS Foundation, which I just want to share. What does the WILS stand for? WILS stand for water, health, education, energy, livelihood, and sustainability. This was inspired, formation was inspired by President Abdul Kalam Azad. He told IIT graduates that you guys are the best brain of the world. Why don't you develop technology based on these 6 verticals? So what Anandji said, the 6 verticals tomorrow, 11, 12, today, tomorrow, and 13, will be based on each one for rural development of India, which are interconnected for health, wealth, and happiness. So we are proud to be connected with this great institute, Stanford and WILS Foundation. Thank you very much.
मोबाइल में स्क्रीन ऑफ हो जाता है बंद हो जाता क्या चाहते हो नहीं क्या मत मत नाखून लगा नाखून लगे बस क्या चाहते हैं बोलो दीदी बोलेंगे वेरी गुड सेवा शिक्षा साधना सेवा service education all regardless of the religion but they are making human everywhere jaja chirale kya vidale
अगले बार मेरा फोटो हाँ फोटो दे दिया मैंने थैंक यू एक और कीजिए लाइफ इज शॉर्ट एक फोटो भेजिएगा
प्रोडक्ट दो मोबाइल भाई
हम कीजिए क्या रिक्वेस्ट किया है भाई, मेरी कॉलेज की है, बता रहा है, आईडी बता रहा है।